for Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Happy holiday, everybody. So nice to have you with us today as we get set for 3 hours on this Labor Day. Lots to talk about, obviously. We've got college football tonight. We had college football at the Liberty Bowl, which we will talk about a whole bunch. That was Saturday night. It turned out the way Memphis Tiger fans would have liked. And, we saw some good, we saw some bad. We'll get into that in a little bit. We've got PGA going on right now. We've got NBA tonight. We've got college football with BYU and Navy. We'll be making some picks about Navy in a little bit. And we've got baseball, though. I don't really want to talk about baseball a whole lot. The guy that I chat with every day, that would be Brett Norsworthy. He probably would love to talk a little baseball with you today. I might just listen and not say a word.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Oh, you're here for me. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
You're here for me.
You knew I would be, didn't you?
Of course I did. Of course I did. So
Would you
tomorrow,
have any doubt?
So tomorrow it's you and me and Russell Copeland, and it's on me at the commissary.
And Drew.
And Drew. Drew's coming too?
Yeah.
I don't know. You see, Carl Morris is filling in for Drew today. Carl, we bring in the 18.
Carl's invited tomorrow.
On the holidays. And you're going to invite everybody on my tab? Very nice. I like the way you're working.
Tim Dooley's invited. Remember you invited Tim?
I did. I don't know that I'm inviting Drew, though. He doesn't show up on the holiday. He doesn't get to go.
Happy holiday, everyone. This is the first of the 3 big summer holidays that we've really had sports on this year. We didn't Memorial Day.
Right.
We didn't 4th of July.
Right.
And we do today. And there's a lot. And there was a lot this weekend. The Stanley Cup going on tonight. Saturday had a Triple Crown race. And did you see Authentic jump crazy post race and
knocked down
turned into El Toro and plowed Bob Baffert?
Yeah, knocked down Baffert. I sure did.
I mean, head over heels. Lucky he wasn't injured.
You're right. And, that Authentic's win, and we'll go over some of this in medals, Authentic's win was incredible. I mean,
big upset.
It's huge upset. Now it was the second or third.
Everybody had Tiz the Law. Everybody. You didn't get to watch any pre-match because you were already on the air on the Tigers Network, and I listened to every minute. You guys crushed it Saturday. It sounded great.
Thank
Whole
you.
team effort. It was a lot of fun. Saturday felt normal. Saturday was really fun. But anyway, I was watching Derby, and I know you couldn't.
Right.
And pre-race with no fans, boy, and we kind of missed on this. We thought, no fans, it won't be any startled horse. Well, one horse jumped crazy pre-race, and I think Authentic even had a moment. One of Baffert's assistants broke his arm in trying to saddle a horse pre-match or pre-race, and then post-round Authentic. But every analyst on NBC except for – and help me with the name, Dave. It's what a role. Hockey and horse racing aficionado. Eddie Olczyk.
Yeah, Eddie Olczyk, who was a Chicago Blackhawk, played for the Blackhawks, still does their television when he's not doing NBC or NBC Sportsnet.
Well, he's horse racing analyst as well.
He is. I think
he's the only one that
he writes for one
that didn't pick.
For one of the Chicago newspapers, he does a handicapping column. I'm pretty sure.
That's the rare combo, isn't it? Horse racing, hockey.
It is. He's a rare guy. He's an interesting fella, Eddie Olczyk, and so he did not pick Tiz the Law. Don't tell me he had Authentic.
I think he did.
Wow. Well,
if he didn't, he had. I think he did. Maybe not. But another rare combo, and he's such a great horse racing analyst, is Randy Moss. Not that Randy Moss,
no,
the Randy
great.
Moss from Hot Springs.
He's great.
That is the top racing handicapper and analyst in the country, and also really good on NFL Network and on other things, and has had a great background covering all the sports from the Hot Springs newspaper to the Arkansas Democrat, then the Democrat Gazette, but he really, he really cashed it in as horse racing aficionado, and he definitely is that, and so very good. Over the weekend, I know one of the bigger stories was Kirk Herbstreit's very moving address on game day about where we are. And it had me thinking, everybody agrees with his statement on that. But, Dave, I think Kirk Herbstreit is the best current analyst out there, and I think in my life the best analyst of any sport out there. His mastery of the subject, his passion for it. I think he's best ever, and I know he's the best out there now. Randy Moss is really good.
I'm just trying to think of analysts over time. Howard Cosell was an analyst.
That's right.
So
he sure was.
He's certainly in my top few. Herbstreit was great. I'm trying to think of the guy that is Herbstreit's role on CBS would be. Well,
it's really not one because of game day.
No,
he's got the game day and the game analysis role.
Right. Are you talking about game day as a studio host, the greatest of all time?
I'm talking just his mastery of his subject.
Mm-hmm. Johnny Miller to me was a great analyst in what he did. John Madden was the greatest football analyst I think ever. So I would have to say I would have him over Herbstreit. When it comes to college football,
you think Madden could go historical perspective as well as Kirk Herbstreit can on the mastery of his subject?
I do. And if this, when Madden was doing his thing, that wasn't as important because they were getting new toys and they were trying really to educate the masses on how the game is played. So history wasn't quite.
I never thought of Madden as an educator.
Important.
I thought him as an entertainer.
Well, he was, but he taught you while he was doing it. He would show you where people were or they were supposed to be, even though he was an entertainer with his booms here and whatever they were there. You know what I'm saying?
When he went Batman, Tony Romo's cashed in on that.
Sure.
Pow, boom,
right,
splat.
But he told you the way the game was supposed to be played, what the strategy was, and that was really. They had telestrators that were just beginning then, so I think that was more of his role. I think Madden could have done anything, and Jim Valvano was sort of that way. I think in college basketball, so I think Kirk Herbstreit is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not arguing that with you, but I would not say greatest of all time of all sports. Not for me. But he is truly great, and what he did on Saturday was heartfelt. There I read some and heard some where, that was forced and that was dramatic. That was heartfelt. You don't choke up like that unless you really mean it. And his heart is absolutely in the right place, and that was a very, very moving moment. We've had a few of those. Herbstreit's struck home with me. I will tell you, Doc Rivers. The night before the Bucks with the boycott, when he said, "We love this country. We try to love this country. This country doesn't love us." Something I'm not exactly on the money, but that's the paraphrase, and that moved me as well. And so there have been moments in time here where I felt emotional about things from other people's words, and those were two moments. Herbstreit's was certainly in there.
Yeah, and I've seen some of the criticism on social media and heard some of it about Herbstreit's comment Saturday. I think there are people that truly would criticize world peace.
There is absolutely, that is true. Let me just tell you this, and I think I've said this on this show several times. I learned early on that it is impossible as a broadcaster or anybody in the public light to be loved 100% by all.
You have.
When I heard early in my career that Vin Scully was a lousy play-by-play guy, that Brent Musburger, who, by the way, Brent Musburger was the one that really created the studio role host with NFL Today. He and Phyllis George and Irv Cross and Jimmy the Greek, they were the first ones that were the real popular pregame show. And he had that role, and he perfected that role. He was the pioneer. And somebody once said to me he was really bad at what he did. And that's when I said, well, you're telling me Scully's no good and Brent Musburger doesn't know what he's doing as a studio host. It is very evident to me there will never be 100% unanimity when it comes to subjective announcing or people in the public eye.
Yeah, and Dave, you have as long as I've known you, and as long as I've listened to you, but going back past me knowing you, you have always maintained that, and I would say in the right kind of way. You have a really thick hide. You don't. I mean, the text or email or back in the days of the fax machine or callers or interaction, you have never. I mean, we through the years we've had the luxury of truly being called everything, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
and I know one thing that you are, and you always spoke so fondly about it, Dave. How old were you? I'm going to say as a Cub Scout at 7 or 8 or 9 years old, and you have talked about when Lou Brock, Chicago Cub Lou Brock, came to visit with y'all's Cub Scout troop in Chicago. How old were you then?
Well,
what year was that?
I was just telling my wife about that. It was literally a month later he got traded. So whatever year
you were 9.
The trade took
or
place.
11, 64, June 15th, 1964.
So I was just 11 years old, and we had a great time with Lou Brock. I'll never forget this. We were a little unruly, as Cub Scouts will be, and we were in our community room at the synagogue that I belonged to in Chicago, which was very close to Wrigley Field. In fact, a lot of people would park in that parking lot at the synagogue and walk over to Bear games or Cub games. And Lou Brock came, and we all blew the little paper wrappers for straws.
Yeah,
we're all blowing those little things around, and Luke
kazoos. Yeah,
no, not kazoos. You'd open up the straw a little bit, and then you would blow the paper wrapping.
Spitballs.
Of the thing. Yeah, just little pieces of paper that wrapped the straw. You had one end so that the other end would blow off. We blew them in the air. Lou was so cool about it. He picked them up. He started autographing them and giving them to us. And he gave this great speech. And I was heartbroken when he got traded. And then I met, and I've said this to you before, I met him when I first got to Memphis in I guess it was the summer of 82 it would be. And he came. Yeah, this was much later. It had to be a little bit later. Anyway, he came, and he was doing a Brockabrella promotional tour. And I brought that up, and he goes, I remember that. I remember you kids. Hey, he was just a genuine, wonderful human being, and clearly one of the great baseball players of our era. You know, he was a Hall of Famer, first ballot, easy, no problem. He was the greatest base stealer of all time until Rickey Henderson came along. And then it was really more by design for Rickey Henderson. They were playing the game for him to steal bases. And I don't think the St. Louis Cardinals were necessarily doing that. The game was played a little bit differently. He was just great. And I think he was a great human being. And he lived a good life. He lived to be 81. I know the last couple of years were not as kind to him as his earlier years were. But all I know is a great life lived, and one that will be celebrated for generations and generations and generations. The Cardinals do a good job of that. And he was one of those, 13 numbers that are retired or honored in the ballpark, and he's one of them. And so, really forever. He will be remembered, and he should be. He was incredible. He's also, I think, he was part of one of the most one-sided trades in the history of baseball. The worst trade that I can ever remember in my lifetime was Lou Brock for Ernie Broglio, and that just is
stuck with you.
It's in my mind forever.
Yeah, it stuck with Cubs, and it turned around the 64 season for the Cardinals, and then he was part of a champion in 67 and a part of a heartbreaking 7-game loss in 68 to the Detroit Tigers. I want to give Bill Freehan credit today. That Bill Freehan, in our listening audience, nobody knows who Bill Freehan is,
no.
But he was the catcher for the Detroit Tigers, and many said he should have been MVP of that World Series for lifting Mickey Lolich up in victory celebration because the rotund Mickey Lolich was so big. Lou Brock was 14 out of 16 in stolen bases over 3 World Series.
Wow.
Bill Freehan threw him out twice.
Wow. I didn't remember that. You know, he was.
I looked it up today.
I
looked it up today.
Not only did he have to lift Mickey Lolich, but you know he was doing the same thing for Denny McLain, who was no lightweight either.
He was no lightweight. Yeah. The Tigers brought some heft in that World Series, didn't they?
They did.
And Mayo Smith got his title, but Lou Brock, in that series was the famous Dizzy D line. He stood when he should have slud coming into home plate. But Lou Brock in 3 World Series hit 300. 414 and I think 418. I mean, just lit it up in 3 World Series, and he was the key part. I would beg people, if you like baseball, and if you like the Cardinals, you like the Yankees, you like the stories of those times, the late David Halberstam's book, it's called October 1964, and it has everything that we're really discussing today. It was at the intersection of race and baseball when baseball was the predominant sport in the United States. It wasn't even close how big that baseball ranked over the other sports out there, everything.
When I was a kid, 50s and 60s, I mean, the NFL really didn't come along until 58. The Giants' overtime game sort of put the NFL a bit on the map. Nothing like, of course, it is today, the Giant, the Behemoth.
And then the merger.
But the truth is baseball really was the sport in America for the majority of my childhood. And I was born in 53.
Yeah, and the David Halberstam book, October 1964, covers it all, covers the Brock Fabrolio trade and how it really led to the Cardinals kind of being the dominant team of the 60s and the torch being passed from the vaunted New York Yankees. This hour of our show brought to you every day.
Before you go there, I want to say this.
Sure.
I'm actually giving them as part of a medal today. But the Brock thing demonstrated, and it's been in my head for a long time, but it solidified the thought. The Cardinals do something better, I think, than anybody else in baseball.
They do ceremony well.
The way they treat their former players.
They do.
We could say ambassadors. I would say like gods. They are amazing. They did
do.
that.
The
they
Red
did
Coats.
That with Musial, the Red Coats. They did that with Musial. They did it with Brock. They do it now with Ozzie. They take care.
Gibson.
They take care of the immortals of their franchise. And I don't think, the Yankees have their little statues out there.
Their old-timers game used to be among the best, though. The Yankees did.
Yeah. And maybe the Cardinals kind of modeled some of that after that. I don't know. But I can tell you, I don't think the
completely.
Cubs or the White Sox do that. I don't think that even the Detroit Tigers won a one-team city that, has had some great memories in the past and great players of the past. I don't think they honor them the same way. I think it's pretty singular to the St. Louis Cardinals and maybe the Yankees, the way they honor their franchise stars. And it's a beautiful thing.
The Red Sox are now doing it very, very well, the ceremony. And there are others. The Dodgers do it well, and there are others. The Celtics and the NBA, there are others. But you're right. A lot of people could take a cue from it.
No question.
This hour of our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Happy Labor Day from Lexus of Memphis to all of you. They're at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the golden opportunity September fall sales event. It's going to feel like fall here in a few days. Great offers on all the 2020 remaining models and the 2021s that are rolling in, and always special lease options. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look great in a Lexus as well. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving great. Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, that has to be Tiger football winning in a comfortable way. Let me put it to you like that. I think we all had it nailed. The Tigers would win. They would not cover that 19.5-point spread, although for a little bit there, when they were up 34-17 and had so much it seemed under control.
Very control.
And then they had that one defensive series where 5 penalties allowed the Red Wolves to score and get to within the 13, which was the final margin of play. But the Tigers showed some good things. Really a defense that was able to adapt after a terrible first quarter. They adjusted and they played pretty well after that. They had good balance, over 500 yards. They did put up a decent amount of points. Brady White threw for 4 touchdowns, made one bad mistake. The running game, you had a running back who had over 100 yards. It was a quiet 100 yards. I don't think that the Tigers tried to show too much in this game. They were also missing some people. We'll get into that in a little bit because of COVID-19. The Red Wolves were too. That's just going to be part of college football in the year 2020. But for the most part, they were supposed to win. They won. They started off 1-0, and that's what you want if you're a Tiger fan.
Well said. Game, set, match, 1-0. Don't ever apologize for being 1-0, especially in 2020 with off seasons we just had on game score predictions. You're right. We all had the plus 19.5. We thought that was a little too big for opening night. Drew had 45-28. I had 38-31. The voice of the Tigers, 37-28. 9-point difference.
Wow.
Better listen to the old voice of the Tigers when they're talking about the Tigers.
Well, just look at the scoreboard on all these pick'ems this year. That's all I'm going to tell you.
My top story. If you were one of the people that booed Brady White last year in the first half of the AAC championship game, I hope you feel bad. I really do. He's been a great college quarterback. 21-8 now as a starter, 63 touchdown passes, moving up every week that he plays on all those all-time lists. Really makes you appreciate Danny Wimprine up there at number 1 in a lot of those. And he's been fun to watch play.
You know what? I love Danny Wimprine. I do. When I go to New Orleans, I try to contact him. Truth is, Brady's going to pass him, even though he may not have enough games. How about he could come back next year? I don't know what will happen with that. I mentioned that.
Oh, wow.
I mentioned that to Ryan Silverfield, and the Memphis head coach said, I'm working on that. I'm greasing the skids on that. I
bet he is.
He could break it this year. He's if he had a year like last year, he would clearly break it, but he doesn't need that many. I think now he's got to be at 7,500 yards, right? I believe he's over 7,500 yards with this with the 275 he had the other night. So, Danny, we love you, but here comes Brady.
Records are made to be broken.
Not top story of the day.
Well, these are the numbers from the dashboard today. Shelby, this is weird. 125 new cases since yesterday. 28,332 total. 1 fatality, up to 397 there. Now, this is the anomaly. This is the one weird stat of the day, so I don't really hold much to it. And we'll probably know more tomorrow or the next of it. There was only 161 tests, 125 cases, which means a 77% positivity rate after what were we, under 5% last week at one point, or 5.8%, whatever it was. I mean, crazy. So that to me is an anomaly.
Yeah. Ping pong.
Hospital space, still available. Those numbers are still about as good, all trending down. Tennessee, 164,000 cases and 1,800 fatalities. 87,000 cases in Mississippi, 2,500, almost 2,600 deaths. And in Arkansas, 65,894 who have passed. In the United States, now we're at 6.5 million, close to 900,000 who have passed away. We have 3.75 million who have recovered. And around the world, 27.5,900,000 who have passed away, 19.25 million recoveries. No new vaccines. We're still at 170 being worked on.
My not top story, he came in second. That's not bad. But everybody had Tiz the Law winning. Everybody. I mean, almost everybody in Western civilization had him picked to come in first. He was close. He almost ran down Authentic, but he didn't. He didn't win. And when everybody's going one way, that's when the public needs to go the other.
It sure seems that way, doesn't it? But, my goodness, I mean, he had his chance. He just couldn't do it. He just could not do it.
He did. He's a great horse.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It sets up for a terrific Preakness because both those horses should be in it. Those are your top and your not top stories today. We've got medals coming your way in a minute. David Cobb at 4 o'clock. Chuck Melkent on the controversy. We'll get into that in medals at the U.S. Open from yesterday. Anthony Sain from the morning show in Sports Illustrated. We'll talk NBA with him at 5. And we've got some prognosticating on Navy, and we're doing our are we calling it? What are we calling our top 4 from each team?
Top 4 from each team.
Oh, we're not doing Mount Rushmore?
We're not calling it Mount Rushmore. It's a little worn out.
Okay. So that's what we're doing.
We can call it whatever you want to call it. We can call it Mount Rushmore. We can call it from the top of Mount Moriah, where we are.
We are. So the top of Mount Moriah, BYU, and Navy's 4 greatest players. We're going to do that at about 5:30. We'll crunch it out at 5:50. Hope that you are all having a fabulous Labor Day holiday. We will go over medals here in just a minute and the leaderboard. Normally we would have Ted Butler. Ted Butler is taking Labor Day off like so many of you. But we will give you the update at the PGA Championships, the final playoff 9 holes coming. We'll give you an update on all of that and medals. That's coming your way in a minute.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Picking up an online order? No problem. It'll just be a moment. You know, we've got more convenient ways to shop besides our same-day store pickup. You can also shop from your car with our free curbside pickup. Or you can even shop completely from home with our free next-day delivery. Just order by 10 p.m. on AutoZone.com. Getting the job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery on eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join Pete Cordelli and me for Sidelines, Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. on Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1 FM. We'll cover the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, recruiting. Hey, if they keep score, we're covering it. Check us out on the website at sports56whbq.com and sidelines.live. Sidelines is brought to you by Duncan Williams Asset Management. Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. Get up and give us a call.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back into the Family Leisure Studios. Hope you are enjoying your holiday. I'll bet you if you had a pool or some patio furniture or something like that from Family Leisure, you'd really be enjoying your staycation palace, and that's what we hope to do with all of your backyards and your patios with Family Leisure. Right now, we have started the world's biggest spa sale. It'll go on through October. You can choose up to 30% off spas and swim spas. I mean, you got hundreds to choose from that are all 30% off, and they've got multiple manufacturers, and they are state of the art. We've got special pricing on chemicals and accessories. As the summer wears down, you always get a deal when they start thinking about closing down pools. Special financing available, always professional delivery is there if you need it. Just get to I-40 and Whidden Road. Make your home a staycation place with Family Leisure. We mentioned we'd be talking golf with Ted Butler. He's taking the day off. We got so much to talk about. We're going to give you medals here in a minute, but I want to give you a little leaderboard update. Dustin Johnson with a 3-stroke lead. He's through 11 holes, so he's 7 away now from becoming the player of the year, the FedEx Cup champion with all the money that gets. And I don't think you could say anybody but him would be player of the year if he wins this. Would you agree with that?
I don't know how it could be. I think the balloting would end.
Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, they are 3 strokes back, and they're through 12. Colin Morikawa, who's been an unbelievable story. He and John Rahm are 15 under. Scotty Scheffler, who had a 59 the other day, a rookie. He's at 13 under. Patrick Reed's made a run. He's got the best round of the day. He fired a 65 today. Sebastian Munoz, Webb Simpson, Rory McIlroy, all at 11 under. Is Morikawa, I know he played at the end of last year, but is he still considered a rookie? Because if he's a rookie, he's rookie of the year.
No, Dave, he's not.
Okay.
The 2 likely rookies of the year candidacies are Victor Hovland and Scotty Scheffler. Morikawa played just enough last year to blow through it.
I would say,
and won last year.
I would say Scheffler's performance here, he at the moment is
probably
is 6th. Andy had a 59 a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I think he's going to get
Hovland won, and Scheffler didn't. But yeah.
Tough battle. I think I'd lean towards Scheffler because he played better at the end.
I think I would too. Closed a little stronger.
Yeah.
Victor Hovland's really good. He's got to get better putting.
He does. He does. So
Tee to green, he's a great player.
Dustin Johnson on the verge of a $15 million payday. That's what you get for winning.
That's a good
the
party.
FedEx Cup. Ladies
Dustin
and gentlemen.
Paulina partying.
Hey, yeah, I was wondering about this. For this, you were allowed to bring some family, right? I think it was just one person, your spouse or your partner. Is that right?
I think so.
Do you think they'd make an exception if Dustin said, I got to bring my wife, but who wants to come?
I think they'd accommodate the Great One.
They'd let Wayne come. Wayne Gretzky. I know they would. I would let him. All right, it is time, without any further ado, to bring you precious metals. I'm going to start. This is a great story. Brent Rooker. You remember who he is?
Yes.
ECS grad, played at Mississippi State. Brent Rooker made his major league debut with the Minnesota Twins on Friday night. Made a diving catch on one play. So we got another Memphian in the major leagues. How about that? That is absolutely great. I'm going to give Sean Dykes a bronze medal, coming back with a 137-yard night, 2 touchdowns. Here's a guy that worked his tail off. Last year you had Joey Magnifico, and so many people were talking about what a great pass-catching tight end and blocker he was, and that is true. Coaches were always saying to us the best catching tight end was Sean Dykes.
Woo!
I found that hard to believe. but he put on
What
a show.
show.
And
I mean, show.
Oh, I know. And you wouldn't believe the work they say he put in to get back to where he was, because his injury was pretty severe. So he gets a bronze, just like the entire Memphis football team. As I said at the beginning, was it a perfect game? No. Did it totally wow you? Maybe not. But they did what they had to do. I don't think they showed everything they got.
Against a good team.
3 starters were not part of it because of COVID. So, and against a team that I think is really good. In fact, I don't know. What is the line? Have you seen the line between Arkansas State and Kansas State this week? Because
I haven't. They were delayed in putting it out, and here's why I think is why. Arkansas State couldn't decide who to play at the most important position in all of team sports, the quarterback.
Right.
Why didn't they go with Hatcher more? They stayed with Bonner way too long, Dave.
They gave more series to Bonner. I agree with you. And I also absolutely agree with you. And I was talking to a person that has a familial relationship. He's got a member of his family that's married to a member of the Hatcher family. And he thought, as I did too, that Lane Hatcher was the better quarterback in that game. So maybe they'll make a quarterback switch.
And they had Lane. They had Lane too corralled when he was in there. Let him cut loose and improv some. They had him too much from the pocket.
I think that's part of their offense. And you know what? I don't think they want him to run. I think they want him to throw the ball, because they have 2 really good receivers in Jonathan Adams and
they couldn't catch a cold
Green,
Saturday.
And Green, both those guys.
The ball wore their hands out.
Yeah, no. They're a good team. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Kansas State. So the Tigers get a bronze medal. A silver medal goes to Serena Williams, who won today over a lady named Maria Sakkari. And
Serena had it easy in the first set. It got tough from there on.
Oh, it went 3 sets, and she was able to beat this same girl that knocked her out of the Southern and Western, the tournament that was right before this one. So she got a little revenge, and here's why she really gets a silver. This is just amazing to me. This is her 12th consecutive quarter-final advancement in the United States Open. Think about that. You've made the quarters 12 years in a row since 2008, the year the Tigers blew the national title.
Dave, don't editorialize. It just hurts yourself.
And I give a silver medal to the St. Louis Cardinals, because they've taken 3 out of 4 after losing the first darn game.
Roughed up Flaherty Friday night.
I really thought about sending you. There's one. I didn't text you.
I thought about sending it to you. Can we negotiate a peace treaty?
I didn't send it to you because I thought doubleheader tomorrow. I'm going to wait. If we split it, I'll feel good enough.
Oh, you would have it. Winning the 7-inning job. But Friday night, I'm in Marion at high school football at Bryant against Marion, and I see where they pull Hatcher or pull Flaherty early and roughed him up and almost hung my phone over the ledge.
Yeah, they had their way early, and I thought that when the Cubs took a 3-1 lead yesterday, that we were in good shape. But John Lester is not John Lester anymore. I don't know. That is not good. So St. Louis gets a silver from me through 3 out of 4, and also the way they treat their retired players. I just love that. And then I've got 2 gold medals. DJ, who's on his way to the FedEx Cup, and what a year when we thought something's wrong with that guy last year. We didn't know if it was marital problems or just he's out to lunch.
He WD'd in Minneapolis this year. It was this year we were worried about him.
Well, he
WD'd when I had him up at the 3M.
He since then turned it around because he's won twice. He's won at least one time every year for 13 straight years since he's been a pro.
This is the DJ we've been waiting on to be dominant.
And that. What was double-digit victory last week or 2 weeks ago, second place last week in a playoff, and probably here's Xander Schauffele just had a birdie, 2-stroke lead on Xander Schauffele. Now he's going to win this thing.
You know who locally is pretty tight with Dustin Johnson?
Who?
Jack Sammons. Jack may have had the get it in gear speech with him in Memphis.
Wow. Well, it worked. It worked. So I'm giving DJ a gold, and I'm going to give Authentic a gold medal because Authentic did what no one thought he could. He knocked off the super horse, Tiz the Law, and Tiz the Law had his chances. Down the stretch they came, and Authentic said, no, get away. I'm the winner. And he was.
We want your medals at 67129 at the First Bank text line. Your medals for the weekend. Dave, I have a bunch. You want me to delete, or can I go all the way through them?
Go through them, baby. Go through them. And we'll do
bronze.
Russ. We'll do Russ on the other end. On the other
you
side.
got it. Bronze. I'm going to start with Freddie Van Buckets. Fred Van Fleet for Toronto. The consummate. He's more than a glue guy. He's too good to be pigeonhole glue guy because he makes big shots, and he's not scared to shoot them. Toronto's even that thing up. Another bronze goes to Fitzmagic. Ryan Fitzpatrick, named starter for the Dolphins, and he has now started for 37 NFL teams. I know there are only 32, and I'm being facetious, but he has started for a bunch of them.
You know how many years? You know how many years he's been in the NFL? Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I'm gonna guess 14.
16.
Is that right?
Yep.
Played college at Harvard.
Right.
And, the beautiful man.
Now, let's be honest about this.
How hard one? Who would you rather have taken the ACT for you? Fitzmagic or Bryson DeChambeau?
Oh, Fitzpatrick. Bryson DeChambeau.
Me too.
He would flake out at some point. He'd go,
I agree. I think he would. He's too flaky.
I'm not into
I'm
this.
with you.
Yeah. The thing about Fitzpatrick, let's be honest, if Fitzpatrick isn't going to have this job for long, he's there to be a player coach.
Caretaker.
Yeah.
For Tua.
He's
Tua is the future in South FLA.
Tua is the guy, and now you're taking the pressure off it too. I like the move.
Silver, you mentioned Serena. I'm with you. She pretty much cruised in the first set. Had a little trouble in the career, and the Nike ad chronicling she and her sister all the way through, I think, it's one of the great ads out there right now on TV. They've really been in the American sports conscience for 20, 25 years. I mean, we heard about them on the way, and they've lived up to it. They and Tiger Woods, we heard about them as child prodigies, and they lived up to every single bit of it. Another silver, 52 baseball games over 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the most in a 3-day stretch in baseball history. 52 to get in over 3 days.
Man.
Another silver. I think might be a little early on DJ, but I think he's going to win this Tour Championship. Now my gold. I'm with you on Authentic. Took down the horse everybody thought was the super horse. He was good, but he won't go down in history. You don't, no matter how good you are, unless you win that Triple Crown. Another gold to the Buffalo Blue Jays. If the playoffs started today, they would be the 5th seed ahead of the Astros and the Yankees, barely hanging on to an 8th seed. The Yankees may not make the playoffs. Maybe the Buffalo Blue Jays can bring a title to titleless Buffalo.
Well, if they did, the state of New York would still have a representative.
They sure would in Western New York. The Mets might squeeze in two more medals. The Army, in my best John Ward voice, they manhandled Middle Tennessee. Wow. Middle Tennessee, and we got a lot of friends there.
Right.
From Tommy West in the D line, Rick Mowry in the offensive line,
right.
Mark Owens running football PR.
Right.
Somebody needs to let Middle know the Army's going to run the wishbone. They weren't ready for it.
Well, it's hard to get ready for that. It really is. And here's the truth. Army's players are fast. Middle Tennessee's are not. That was, I really thought that was going to be a good game. All of us, I think, picked that one correctly too. So we had a group lock on that, but I thought it would be a 5-6, maybe a touchdown game. Did you see it to be that one-sided?
Bruce Marshall did on Friday. He loved it, and Bruce Marshall had an outstanding weekend, and he had Arkansas State plus the points and the under in that one. My last goal, Brady White, Sean Dykes, Devontae Coxey. 18 snags between Dykes and Coxey from the right arm of Brady White, and they kept that offense rolling, and the run game was great. 227 yards rushing, won the rushing battle, and as we all thought, even with the news of Kenneth Gainwell, they got playmakers at Memphis.
They do, and they go fairly deep. But I think we have to be honest at this point. Did you see anybody like Kenny Gainwell in that group? I did not.
Not like that. I didn't,
and
Dave.
Drake Clark, I think, is going to be a really good player, and he did have 100 yards. He had over 5 yards a carry, so that was a lot of good to that. But I didn't see Kenny Gainwell, and I'll tell you who else I didn't see, but I didn't see him in the first game last year, is Antonio Gibson, who's going to make an NFL roster. I didn't see either of those kinds of players. That's not to say they're not there, but they didn't look like it in game one. And that is a fair thing to say. Kenny was really good right off the bat last year. Gibson was not. And it took over a half a year for Norvell and Silverfield and Johns to figure out they were going to run Gibson. But once they did, he was amazing.
You know, I hold my criticism of referees, umpires, officials very close, don't I? I don't do it, do I?
Right.
The call on the kickoff was awful.
Oh, the hold call that Gabriel Rogers returned to the 45 and almost went the distance?
That I thought he had housed.
Yeah, I thought he had housed too. You realize he might – now, I don't know if anybody's ever done this before. You know, the Gabriel Rogers returned one kick last year against Navy. It was 99 yards for a touchdown. And then they decided because that was his fourth game, they were redshirting him. So they didn't use him again. So he had one kick return for a touchdown. The second kick return in his career was that kick.
Oh, he was close to going batting 1,000.
He was close to 2 returns, 2 touchdowns. I'll bet you that's never happened in the history of the NCAA.
Lucky to snare him, and horrible call.
Yeah, absolutely horrible call. And they didn't snare him. He kind of tripped. I don't know what he tripped of.
He really did. But the carpet kind of got him a little bit.
He still had over a 50-yard return, so he would have been averaging, 75 yards a return. Pretty darn good stuff.
You tell me a program that can have a guy run a kickoff back in a college football game and then can defer and mothball him because of the 4 games. You don't have playmakers in your program?
Oh, all right. Quick quiz for you. Last 4 years, how many kick returns for touchdowns for the U of M?
I'm guessing 6.
11.
That's a big number.
11. That's punt returns.
And went all those years without one.
Yeah. 11. That to me is
well,
phenomenal.
and look at special teams Saturday night. The Tigers made a play. Now, was Coxie, is he always out there on kick coverage on the kickoff return team? Or did they smell a rat and put him out there?
They smelled a rat and put him out there. They had their good hands team out
That's
there
coaching. That's coaching.
That.
And the guy kicked it straight to him. I think I could have caught it.
Well, I actually did not think that was supposed to be an onside kick. I think that was a pooch kick. And
you think the kicker freelanced? That's a good way to walk back to Jonesboro.
No, I don't think it was a freelance. I think it was supposed to be in that zone between because they didn't want to kick it to Rogers. They kept it away from him the rest of the night. But I think it was supposed to be a little bit higher. I really do.
Well, I don't want to see his wedge game then.
Yeah, I'm with you there. One other interesting stat I think from the Memphis-Arkansas State game that I did not know on Friday, but I knew on Saturday as I prepped for the game. This was the second pandemic that these two teams have played in. So the Tigers began their series in 1914 with Arkansas State. In
That's a great note.
1918 and in 1919, they played in the Spanish flu pandemic, and here we are, 102 years later, playing through the COVID-19 pandemic.
Who won in Spanish flu?
I don't know. I know
if the Tigers won then you know what we can do? Something only you and I know. If there's a pandemic, the Tigers bat 1,000.
We got them. Last note, when you brought up how long we've known the Williams, we really got introduced to Venus when she was about 12 or 13, right? Isn't that right? When we first started hearing about her?
Yeah.
She's 40 years old now.
Yeah.
40
years. They've been around
old.
forever, and have done it forever. And it's been fun to watch.
So you're talking basically 27 years that they have been in the American sports conscience. That is pretty heady stuff, and that means we got to take a timeout. We are back with the Rusts coming your way in a minute on Sports Time on Sports 56.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
Somewhere, somehow, somebody must have kicked you around some. Tell me why you want to lay there, revel in your abandon.
Ask and ye shall receive. So you wanted to know what happened in 1918 and 1919? November 28th, 1918 in Jonesboro, the University of Memphis, then known as probably Memphis Teacher School. Memphis beat Arkansas State 37-6. Then on October the 17th, 1919, Arkansas State returned the favor. They were a winner, 6-0. That game also played in Jonesboro. We thank the texter on the First Bank text line for that info.
Well, something only you and I know now going forward, 2 out of 3 times the Tigers will win in a pandemic.
There you go. I like
so they play 3 times in global pandemics.
Isn't that crazy? That is
the
craziest.
Who thought we'd see another one?
Oh my!
Goodness.
Wish we had. All right, I got several Russ. One Russ, and I can't wait to talk with Chuck Melkent about this in about 40 minutes or so. Novak Djokovic, who inadvertently turned a losing point into being ejected from the game. He was frustrated, lost a game, and was down 5-6 in the first set where he was an overwhelming favorite. Let's face it, he's the overwhelming favorite. With Federer and Nadal out and Andy Murray not what he was going to win what would have been his 17th Grand Slam, and he's trying to catch Federer at 20 and Nadal at, I think he's at 19, and he was a lock to win this, and in frustration, he just inadvertently, not looking, fired a ball behind him that hit a lineswoman in the throat, right in the neck, and she went down. Now, this has happened twice in tennis recently, of some recent, and both those players, Tim Hennerman and the Canadian kid that's still in it, Shapovalov, they both were ejected from their matches from the tournament.
And they should be.
Because the rules are that was negligent, that was risky behavior on the court, even though it was inadvertent. And look, I get it. If he missed her by 2 inches, nothing is said. But he didn't miss her, and the rules are the rules.
But he didn't miss.
And he had to go, and he cost himself. At that point, he's going to make a minimum of $250,000. He's going to win over $1 million if he wins it, but he was already at $250,000 and the ranking points, which keeps him at number one. A huge, huge mistake for now and for his legacy. Now he's going to be known throughout the rest of his career for this moment, as was pointed out by John McEnroe, who should know.
He knows temper.
He does, and he called it a rookie mistake. And we know Djokovic is not a rookie. That is a major, major rust. I give a rust to Russell Westbrook because Russell Westbrook cost, in my mind, and we'll talk about this with Anthony Sane at 5 o'clock, he cost the Houston Rockets a chance to go up 2-love on the Lakers. He has played poorly since they came back for the restart. He's not been good in the bubble. He missed some of that because of COVID. Even though he didn't have any symptoms, he was coming off of an injury. He's not the same guy. He had 7 turnovers and 3 assists in that game. He was 1 of 6 or something like that from three-point range, and he shot 25% total.
This is
hard. Russell
Westbrook.
Westbrook.
Good defense on him.
Oh, please. He was really bad. And, he's being left wide open because they're doubling Harden. He's got to be Russell Westbrook. And if he's not, they have no chance. And, that was awful. And my final rust goes to COVID because it cost the Tigers 3 starters, Pickens and Jacoby Francis and Isaac Fields, the offensive lineman. So you lost a corner, you lost a linebacker, all starters, and a offensive line, the guard. That hurt you. Now, on the other hand, Arkansas State lost 2 starters too. So COVID gets a rust from me.
My rust, I'm with you on Joker, and I want to talk about this a little bit later. I think he was properly DQ'd, but I want to talk about going forward after people's public failings. But he was correctly DQ'd yesterday. Rust to Blake Anderson. The onside kick, it blew up. It blew up in his face. I don't know how it was supposed to play out, but it didn't play out, I think, how it's called. And after that, Arkansas State kind of quit. And I also want to give a rust to the Michigan president, Mark Schizzle, threatening to sabotage the Michigan-Ohio State game, even if the Big Ten decides to come back. He is I think he's an epidemiologist by trade. Hadn't even visited the Michigan football facility all year to see how they're coming back from anything. Just wants to shut it down. No questions asked. Jim Harbaugh is going to be looking to get back in the NFL next year. He'll have enough of that guy.
Could be. Could very well be. Anything else?
That's good. I'm good.
Okay. We got a rust here from somebody who says the PA was too loud for the 4,500, the sellout at the Liberty Bowl. You know what? I can tell you, if anybody else agrees with that, please text us 67129 on the First Bank text line. The feed that I was getting, and I assume that's what the PA was. The feed that I was getting, now that could also be manipulated by Danny O'Brien, our engineer. But it was perfect for me, so I really can't tell you. But if anybody else in the stands thinks it was too loud, let us know. We'll pass it along, but we get a rust from somebody on that. This portion of the show is brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Group. When you want a great value without sacrificing great service, think Eflin. Think the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his guys and gals, professionals, they have access to 10 leading companies to find the right home or auto program that will fit your needs and your budget. And if you need commercial insurance, hey, they're ready for that too. They do both, personal and mid-sized to small businesses, and they virtually have unlimited access to programs to protect those. And let's not forget life insurance. The Eflin Group's got you covered there as well, with quotes from 15 well-respected companies. You'll never wonder if you've gotten a good deal. Call Grant, Andrew, or Heath. Don't call today because they're taking the day off. But tomorrow, call 901-386-GRR. That's 901-386-GRRR or 4777 and get a quote today. That's the Eflin Insurance Group, proud supporters of the University of Memphis. That's 1 hour in the books. When we come back, our friend from CBS, that would be David Cobb. He comes your way next.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference. Like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in on a Labor Day holiday, a weekend that we had so many good things. Tiger victory, the running for the roses. Yeah, we did. We had the Kentucky Derby. We had college football. We had baseball. We have hockey. We've got NBA. All these things happening all at the same time, and enjoy, because you're never going to see that again where we have everything like that, you know?
And we got the French Open coming up, and they're talking having, I think, a full complement of fans at Roland Garros.
Ah, you know, we just had the Tour de France, by the way, and one guy that I know, because I've watched it several times and have enjoyed it. One guy I know,
I have too,
watched it and really enjoyed it this past weekend. That would be you, Brett Norsworthy.
I loved it. I love it every year watching it. Not as much. Now, this year, the competition of the actual bike riding I did like. And, Dave, I'm sorry that I didn't know through the years. I didn't know that they had designated climbers for the teams.
Mm-hmm. It's a different discipline. But the great ones,
I didn't know that.
The great ones still have to do all the events.
I got you. So, but they first had that race in 1910. What do you think those roads were like in 1910?
You know, that is a great question, and we may get a summation of this thing before the year is out. I have a friend that's an analyst for me on this. His name is Mike Sherman. He's watched every one of these for, I don't know how many years, 20, 30 years. He's a big cycling enthusiast.
Never mind 1910, 1930.
But could you imagine, seriously, because they do use the roads that people travel with
original tracks
now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they're right. It's the original roads, but they've been paved and they've been widened, and they're so much better.
But they weren't paved in 1940.
No, in 1910, what were they? They were like dirt, right?
Logging roads.
Man.
It was incredible. I like watching every year. You know, it's usually a July thing. I like watching it every year because I love the French countryside and all the various crowd shots in those little villages and those little boutique hotels. I love watching that.
I do too. I just love the whole scenery, and I think because let's face it, it is really hard to televise a bike race and all the little stories that go on with it. But I think they do a pretty good job of trying to bring you the beauty shots, the the toughness that you have to be able to compete in this, and really the sense of the race. I think NBC does a pretty good job with it.
The blimp shot's just great in that French countryside, and then the athletic prowess of it to watch it was something to see. Carl, I put the number up for David at the stack. You need to check the stack and call it. But it was beautiful to watch.
It was. It was something else. There is a story going on. I don't know if David Cobb has this or not. He did write a bunch of stories that I have looked at today. But Jay Hobson, of course, had Memphis connections, and he's been around college football forever. He's the head coach.
Played at Ole Miss.
At Southern
good fella.
Miss. Yeah, good fella. They had that ugly loss last week. And
Huey ugly.
Is he
bad.
out? Is that the rumor?
Is
that official?
It is confirmed. It is confirmed that he indeed is out 28-23 in his Southern Miss tenure. That includes, Thursday night's loss to South Alabama. Had 4 winning records in 4 years with 3 bowl trips. Now, a lot of people are going to say, what in the world is Southern Miss doing? I don't like that somebody's without a job. I don't want to be without one. I like Jay Hobson. I know him a little. It's Southern Miss saying we want to be better than this.
It's saying to me, though, that there's something we don't know.
We expect better.
There's something more to it that we don't know. You the guy went to 3 bowls, had 4 winning season in 4 years, 1 bad game, and he's out.
It was really bad.
It was bad. I get that. It was real bad. But that's not bad enough not to let the guy keep going in this pandemic year. It says to me that
and you know a name that will pop up. A name that will pop up. He played baseball there.
No, I think I know who you're talking
that'd be
about.
Hugh Freeze.
Yeah. You think Hugh Freeze wants to leave Liberty, where he's making a ton of money, living in a glorious place to live in the mountains?
Southern Miss is a lot better job than that.
Does it pay more?
Liberty's not even in the league.
Does it pay more?
It's an easier way to get back into the SEC, and that's what he's trying to do.
Okay.
Pete Golding's name will be involved. Steve Campbell at South Alabama.
Yeah.
Casey Dunn, among other names, will be bandied about. Someone that knows the Southern situation well told me that he didn't know that if Southern would go after Freeze and court him, but his name would definitely be part of the mix.
It would seem to me Steve Campbell would be the perfect person for that. He has won Delta State in that state.
And JUCO's in Mississippi.
And JUCO's there too. So I'm not sure that you would have to take a pay cut to go there. I think
I don't know that. I don't know that it'd be pay cut. I think Southern would come up with it for football.
I think Hugh's making over $1.5 million, isn't he?
Yeah, and Southern had won under Larry Fedora. Great history under Bobby Collins and Jeff Bauer.
Oh, Jeff Bauer was, they had a string of 3.
They don't want it sliding at all.
I get it. I absolutely get it. But 1 bad game seems odd to me. In the meantime, let's bring in our friend from CBS. That's David Cobb. What is your take on Jay Hobson's removal after 1 game, after maybe not the greatest of success, but winning seasons and bowl trips nonetheless? Good afternoon. Happy holiday.
Hey, guys. Yeah, same to you guys. Yeah, it's surprising. But one thing I think was overlooked in the lead up to that Southern Miss South Alabama game, I think partially due to the fact that Southern Miss doesn't. I mean, the beat, like, there is no beat writer anymore at the paper down there, and which is kind of sad for a program that's been really good historically. And so I think what may have gone overlooked is they had, I think, 4 established veteran starters opt out, and not just opt out for the season, but say that they're going to transfer as well. And I had no idea if there was anything more to that, if something had gone wrong with the relationship. With their relationship with Hobson, but nevertheless, that's something that happened, and that's something that really hurt them, because it's not like they were just opting out to go prepare for the draft or to come back and play next season because they're concerned about the virus. They all said they're going to transfer, and so I guess I'm not shocked when I saw that, and I saw the way that game played out the other night. I'm not shocked to hear this, but he had a fine record at Southern Miss. I surely wouldn't think that it was performance related.
Well, that makes a lot more sense to me now when you say guys are opting out not for COVID. Guys are opting out not for the NFL draft. Guys are opting out and transferring. Well, that says we don't like the coach. That's why he's being removed. It had nothing to do with that one-sided loss.
Right. Well, I'm sure that didn't help.
No.
They got their butts whipped by a South Alabama team that has won. I think they had won a combined total of 6 games over their previous 3 seasons, something along those lines. So that doesn't help by any means. But yeah, I think this could be a really interesting hire because guys who are coordinators right now who might not normally take a job in at a school like Southern Miss might be more interested in it due to the fact that there aren't going to be a lot of power conference jobs opening due to the financial situations that some schools are in. So maybe can they go after a guy, a big name coordinator who otherwise might be in the running for a lower tier Power 5 job? I don't know.
I so agree, David. I don't think there are any hot seats in the SEC. Not Derek Mason, not Will Muschamp, not a one, not a single hot seat. If for no other reason, in these times, you can go to your board of trustees and say, "Hey, we got to cut a guy a check for $20 million not to coach, and we got to pay the new guy coming in the same thing or a little more."
Yeah, it's. I don't think going to be real practical. And so y'all talk about Hugh Freeze, and it makes a lot of sense. But I hear what Wolo is saying as well. We don't know his salary maybe at Liberty, but is Southern Miss going to be a school that's in position to make that offer sweet enough for Hugh? And it could be that, like you're saying, Stats, his desire to get back to this region in a place that he played baseball at. Could be something that would influence him if his name gets brought up in this search. But I don't know what sort of cash Southern Miss is going to have to throw at somebody. But if you're that that hot Power 5 coordinator, let's just say a Dillingham, for instance, who we know around here, you maybe look at something like this because you know that it might be a couple of years before the Power 5 carousel really gets.
Wow.
Again.
Dillingham would be on quite the journey if he did that. The kid went from being a GA for about $20,000 a year to the OC at Memphis, to the OC at Auburn, to the OC at Florida State, and this is all within 3 years, and then to be the head coach at Southern Miss. That would be quite the story. If
new
that
tax
was the
brackets,
case.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, he's barely 30, I would say. So maybe that's a stretch. But I think along those lines, though.
I don't know.
Maybe,
I don't think he's that old.
I don't think it's a stretch, David, because everybody's looking for young and looking for offensive guys. It is impossible to be the defensive guy out there and try to get hired. It just doesn't ring any chimes at the proverbial press conference. It doesn't. All right, let me throw a few names at y'all for this Southern job. There'll be plenty of time as names develop through the years, but I'm just going to throw a few at y'all. And if y'all were the kingpin at Southern Miss football, be it the AD or a booster, what would you think of it? All right, we mentioned Freeze. Would y'all do that?
Yeah,
if you could.
Absolutely. You want to sell tickets?
Dave?
Yes. Yeah.
I think so, but I'd be careful because I'm not as sure that Hugh would take that job because he's got it made where he is right now.
But Liberty's not his last coaching stop, though, is it?
I don't know. You know what? He is about 30 years old, Kenny Dillingham. I just looked that up. I didn't think he was quite that old. I think Hugh I do think Hugh wants to get back to the SEC level or Power 5 level. The question is, will anybody hire him really? I'm not sure that is the case because of the
If he would say yes, would you hire him at Southern Miss? If you knew he was going to say yes,
if I knew he was going to say yes, I would hire him, yes. Because I think he'll win.
Next one, Bobby Petrino.
No, I think Bobby Petrino is a bad guy, and I think he's proved it over and over and over again.
Yeah. All right, two more. Brett Bielema.
Yes.
I would too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
David Cobb and I are mind melding right now.
one more. Gene Chizik.
Yeah, I'd give Gene Chizik a chance. Sure. He did win. He won a national title.
He did. He did. I think Gene Stewart might actually be a great fit for that job.
Okay. How about you? Are you in agreement with us on these?
I'd hire any of those. Maybe even Petrino.
You would hire Bobby Petrino?
Well, there's a lot that goes with him.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes with Hugh Freeze and Brett Bielema, too.
You know what? Bobby Petrino.
We're not talking about the Vienna Choirs, boys.
You know,
guys,
the second time around at Louisville wasn't so good.
The state of Mississippi with Mike Leach, Lane Kiffin, and Bobby Petrino.
Wow.
Pretty good, isn't it?
Well, or if Hugh Freeze took it, that'd be great, too.
Or Hugh Freeze.
And you know what Hugh Freeze's first presser at Southern Miss, you know what he does? Let's play Ole Miss.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Well, I've always thought Ole Miss and Mississippi State should have played Southern Miss. They didn't want to play.
State does.
They were
State does
good program.
periodically.
Yeah.
State plays Southern periodically, and I think they should play. I don't know that it should be all home and home with either State or Ole Miss, but I do think over a 10-year period, 6 times at Starkville or Oxford and 4 at the Rock should be done.
I think they'd take that in a heartbeat. I think Memphis at this point would take a deal like that, 6 and 4.
Oh, I don't think Memphis should settle for that. No, Dave. I wholeheartedly disagree.
Wow,
David, do you think Memphis should settle for that? I would say home and home or lose our number.
I mean, I'm okay doing home and home with Southern Miss. I mean, they're old CUSA rivals, and like every Southern Miss.
No, Memphis and Ole Miss.
That's
Memphis, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, no, I think Memphis needs to be playing home and home with certainly the regional SEC schools.
Well,
me too.
Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi.
I agree with that, but the bottom line is no one would do that deal. The only one that would play them would be Arkansas, and the Memphis Tigers did a 2-for-1 deal with that. So,
yeah, I don't know if I like that precedent though either, but it's worth trying. But David, scheduling in the neighborhood might get easier with the budgets we're getting ready to be constrained by.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I mean, there's just so many common sense matchups that don't get played because
it's what we want to see.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean, you think just regionally, there's a lot. I mean, Tennessee-Memphis would love to see that one again. Tennessee is dragging their feet on making that happen. Philip Fulmer won't commit to that. Arkansas State. I mean, I know why Arkansas won't do it. They'd get their butts kicked by Arkansas State right now. But why not? That would make so much sense. There's so much logic to that.
It would be so much fun.
Yeah, and then just in the South alone, there's so many that would be intriguing. I mean, hopefully, the problem is though that even with all the COVID-19 financial disruptions, so many of these schools schedule their football games a decade out, and so you've got a lot of non-conference games already under contract for the remainder of the 2020s already. So there's not a whole lot of flexibility unless they all take the state of emergency act of God clause to get out of some of the games they've already arranged.
You just wrote a story about Oregon's, I think it's Penei Sewell, who opted out for the year. How many more do you this is the guy he's a star. He's really up there in the NFL draft. He's an offensive line guy. How many more of these? And this what amazes me is he's doing this and not even playing at Oregon, unless they think they're really going to play in the spring. And I don't know if the Pac-12 truly will do that or not.
No spring.
But how many more of these you think we're going to get?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a handful more in the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. And the reason there hasn't been more already is because, I mean, they don't even know if there's anything to opt out of yet at this point. I think there's probably a lot of guys who are sort of waiting for that clarity on what the season is going to look like, if there is one at all, before they come out publicly and say that they're not going to do it. Because it's just going to be a watered-down, for those two conferences, a watered-down sort of deal that really sort of messes up the traditional timeline in terms of preparing for the draft and whatnot. I mean, even if they start at Thanksgiving, I mean, they're going into February in all likelihood. So it's just, I think there's going to be a ton of them. And Sewell is huge. I mean, I don't know. I think nationally it's kind of hard to even say where Oregon fits right now because they're not playing And so they're not really on the forefront of our mind. But for whatever they were going to do this season, if Oregon was going to have a season, he was going to be a huge part of it because he was their only returning starter on the offensive line, and they're replacing Justin Herbert at quarterback. So, a lot of people just pencil Oregon in as a top 10 team without even really looking at their roster just because they perennially do very well in the Pac-12. But if you had them in your top 10 this season, he was one of the big reasons why. And, if he's not playing, that offense is just going to be totally new. I mean, you hear Nick Saban talk about it looking like a JV team. Well, this Oregon offense will be last year's Oregon JV offense because there will be no starters back on the offensive line, a new quarterback. And to me, that could really disrupt the hierarchy of the Pac-12 because I think with Washington under a first-year coach, I think that one could actually have a pretty big impact because he was far and away Oregon's star, even as an offensive lineman. So I don't know. It's sort of weird because we don't know if or when they're going to play this year, what they'll even be competing for. But if you're paying attention at all to Oregon, that is a tragic loss for them in terms of, I think it lowers their ceiling, to be honest.
David, I talked about earlier the kind of open warfare between Michigan president Dr. Mark Schissel and their football coach, Jim Harbaugh. It feels to me like Jim Harbaugh will be planning an exit from Ann Arbor. He could be the Detroit Lions coach next year.
Yeah, it kind of shows you the difference between, can you imagine? I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but it wouldn't happen, I don't think, over the pandemic. The total souring of a relationship between a university president and a football coach in the SEC. I just couldn't see that over what this is about. The Michigan president and Jim Harbaugh have had no communication. And they're just totally on opposite sides of the fence on this issue. And it's bizarre. But I think, honestly, Jim Harbaugh is probably he's probably just kind of looking out for himself in this situation. It's just, he's got to be Roo-Rah football. That's who he is. That's what's going to keep him in the good graces of the players he's trying to recruit, the players who are on his roster who might be trying to consider transferring. He really doesn't have any other choice. I'm just surprised that the Michigan president wouldn't make a better faith effort to actually open a line of communication with the person who's probably the only one on that campus more powerful or equally as powerful as him.
I think it's never a good deal to do battle with your boss. Some people may argue who really is the boss here, but I think at Michigan, as much as football means everything, there is a hierarchy, and it is an academic school. And I don't think that you openly feud with a guy who is your boss, no matter how big you are. You can do it behind the scenes. You can tell the guy directly to his face. But to protest like he is, I think is a bit of a mistake. I mentioned the COVID thing before and opting out. And one thing we know for sure is COVID is going to be a part of every week. Memphis had 3 players. Arkansas State had 2 players last week, all starters, that missed the game, whether it was COVID itself or contact tracing. That's a big part of it. So we, I guess, could get used to that. Before we let you go, David, I need your take on what you saw Saturday night at the Liberty Bowl. What was your sense of the 2020 Tigers?
Yeah, well, the offense looked pretty good. They weren't particularly explosive, but they were pretty dominant in terms of being able to run the football when they wanted to, even without Gainwell. Now, I think there were a couple of runs that Gainwell would have broken that they didn't break on Saturday, but that's okay. They controlled the line of scrimmage, I thought, pretty well. The defense looked a little suspect, which I guess is kind of just what we've come to expect from Memphis football, but on the whole, I was pretty encouraged by it because they got hit in the mouth, go down 7-0 early, and then they came right back, and I think they played pretty well. Brady White looked a little uncomfortable under pressure when Arkansas State brought even a 4-man rush, but I'm not reading anything into that aside from that's probably one of the first times that he's been live. Since the Cotton Bowl.
Right.
How many times do you think that he's been tackled since the Cotton Bowl? I'm going to venture to say not very many. So I'm not going to read too much into that. In fact, when he got outside the pocket, aside from that interception he threw, I thought he looked a little bit more nimble than I remembered in terms of being able and willing to run.
Absolutely.
So on the whole, I would give it a B+. I didn't think. I mean, obviously they didn't cover the spread, they didn't dominate the game, but I was encouraged by the way they dominated the line of scrimmage at times. And I thought, after the way this offseason has gone for everybody, and with the coaching transition and all the new assistants, the guys who you needed to look really good. Brady White, Devontae Coxey did a lot. Sean Dykes looked like he's going to be a star this season at tight end. So, I'd give it a B+. On the whole, I thought it was a pretty good opening game.
I think you take that. I agree with you. I thought Brady White actually he didn't lose weight, but he turned some let's just say some tissue in the muscle. How's that? And they say he's quicker, and I thought that appeared to be the case on Saturday. Now maybe we'll see some defensive lines that have some bigger athletes or more nimble athletes. We'll find out in the long run, but I thought he was improved in that regard. David, it is always a pleasure chatting with you, and we thank you for definitely doing this on a holiday day.
No
Thank
problem.
you, David.
Anytime. Every time.
We appreciate it,
man.
We appreciate
Thank you,
it.
David.
Cobb.
We do.
Happy holiday to you and to your wife. This hour of our program is presented by Homer. Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. Also the same house for Genesis of Olive Branch, where my G70 is from, where I had a G90, where you might see the SUV from Genesis coming out anytime. 2021 models have already begun to arrive when it comes to the Hyundais and my Genesis car, the other kinds of Genesis cars. They're all coming in, and you know what you get with Homer, the place that has set the bar, I think, for the way car business should be done. Every new vehicle gets a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. Every new vehicle now gets a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package. And I'm talking about technology so good, especially when it comes to safety. Look, Hyundai tied for the most number of top safety pick vehicles in all of 2020. Get on Lamar. It's Highway 78 in Mississippi. The very first exit is Craft Road. Turn left. You'll see my guys. They've been together for about 15 or 20 years. They know how to take care of you. You will thank me once you go to Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We take a break. When we return, tennis will be front and center. We'll talk this U.S. Open. We'll talk Serena Williams. We'll talk the Joker, Novak Djokovic, who is out of the tournament for hitting a line judge. All that coming your way next.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
Farmers Insurance knows that there's a not-so-subtle difference between the sound of a car hitting your rear bumper and the sound of a clown car hitting your rear bumper.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Sorry about that.
We call that a three-ring fender bender, and we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent.
They know a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
I'm here with outstanding team from Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. Gary, tell everyone how they can experience the Lexus of Memphis satisfaction.
Come in and be a part of our family at Lexus of Memphis. Experience the customer service that we provide to each guest like a member of our own family. If you're on the side of the road and you need us, we're there. If you need help with anything with your car, technology, Bluetooth, the app suite, we have a dedicated team to help you with this in your journey with your Lexus.
That's how they do it at Lexus of Memphis.
Golfers, are you looking to play like a pro without traveling the world? Just come to Golf and Games Family Park, 5484 Summer Avenue. Golf and Games has the Top Tracer range system. Top Tracer gathers all your golfing data, distance, carry, ball speed, and more. Or choose a virtual course like Pebble Beach, St. Andrews, and Spyglass. Bring your friends and family to transform and enhance the range experience for golfers and non-golfers alike. Plus, it's fun. Top Tracer range at Golf and Games, 5484 Summer Avenue. Play like a pro.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 833-8-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in on this holiday. So glad to have you with us. We share Labor Day with you. So much going on in the sporting world right now. For me, it is a little bit of a sad weekend because my Cubs cannot take the series from the St. Louis Cardinals. They've got to win tonight to, make it a 2-3, 5-game series. And for that reason, I think the world the way Brett Norsworth is now inviting everybody. I owe lunch tomorrow at the Germantown Commissary, or the Collierville Commissary, I think is where we're going.
We're looking forward to being at either one of them, either place, the new Collierville Commissary, Houston Levy, and Poplar. That's where we'll be because we can get out on the patio there, or the original in Germantown. All that great food, Memphis-style barbecue, the ribs, the everything there. It's delicious, authentic Memphis-style, great food. I know a lot of people had it for watching the Tigers on Saturday night and watching ball games tonight and all this week. The NFL starting on Thursday. Have that game watching, get together and get all the food from the commissary. 901-754-5540 online at commissarybarbecue.com in Collierville at Houston Levy and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. Walker Taylor, he has a fantastic business, and he stuck by his employees. They stuck by him. They stuck by us during all this. Everything very safe, very secure. It always was. It was always one of the cleanest of whistle places in town, even more so if that's possible now, trying to be extra careful in these times. They are. All that great food. Don't forget about the salads at the commissary. I know the last time we were there, Andy Schiffman got a salad. I bet he could eat on for 3 or 4 days. Somebody tomorrow will get
I think
the
he
salad.
Actually took it with him to Chicago. It's got preservatives, I hope, in it.
He did. The hot tamales are great, and you can get the 6-pack or 8-pack or a 12-pack. The ribs, the shoulder, get it chopped, get it pulled, all the great ways to enjoy either commissary and wrap it up with room for the best lemon icebox pie I've ever had and the terrific banana pudding, all at the commissary. And it's getting closer to Brunswick stew time of the year. Let it get a little bit cooler for that, I think. I prefer it a little cooler for the Brunswick stew. And then after that, we start talking about the 36-hour bird, all at the legendary commissary, 754-5540, commissarybarbecue.com.
You're getting a little ahead of yourself there with the bird.
Getting closer. It'll go fast, Dave.
Oh, man.
You don't want to have your order in too late, do you?
Let me enjoy September.
I hope you're without one.
Please.
I hope you're without. I hope
be.
I hope they get covered up and you don't get one.
Well, if that happened, I know you'd be there for me. You would cook dinner for me. I know. I'd turkey at your house for sure.
I'd give you about 10 hours of my 36-hour bird.
To the City of Angels we will go. Our tennis analyst, the Grand Slam analyst, is Chuck Melkent, the head tennis professional at Los Angeles Country Club. 2 major storylines going on right now. One, Serena Williams, 12th straight U.S. Open quarterfinal berth today. She wins in 3s over a lady that actually knocked her out of the tournament last week. And so she's in 12 straight years. She's made the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open. And the other, the jettison of Novak Djokovic, the Joker, ejected from the tournament yesterday for inadvertently, in anger, hitting a linesman. Chuck, Hope you're having a terrific Labor Day. Thank you for giving us part of your holiday. Let's start with Joker. What the heck do you think about that crazy scene?
It was amazing. I mean, no major for 8 months. We go in here. We don't have Fed. We don't have Nadal. We have one of the top 3 pretty much of all time. And at just a moment after he he loses serve, takes the ball out of his pocket, and he just sort of like was just hitting it out of his pocket, hits this linesman right in the neck. I've never seen. I mean, I don't know. Prior to that, he was hitting the ball toward the sidelines, almost hit a cameraman, but he lost his serve, and I guess he just pulled the ball out of his pocket and just slammed it. I mean, he didn't mean to do it, but he really shouldn't have hit that ball like that.
No, and it's got to stop. That's why they have to be vigilant about it. Over the top rope, he's DQ'd, he's gone. But, Chuck, I want to talk about this, and I want to bring it up with kind of every aspect of society right now. And Joker's been slammed far and wide this weekend. A lot of things about his views on different things. He's a mercurial cat for sure, but great tennis player. We've got to come to something in society now between the cancel culture over a misstatement, over a misdeed, that you're done. Persona non grata, out for the rest of your life. And on the other end, we don't do anything to them. We've got to come to a happier medium. He should be punished. He was. He should be vilified. He has been. But then at some point, I mean, I don't think he needs to be burned at the stake, does he?
I think he pretty much got what he deserved, and I think putting him out of the tournament, he was in line to win this thing. I mean, he was definitely the all-time favorite in this event. He could have really increased his Grand Slam thing. Federer has 20, he has 17. He wants that 20. He wants to pass Fed. He could have gotten this slam, but I think he pretty much got pretty nailed good. He put him right out of the tournament. He got fined. I think he loses points.
He does.
From last year to this year, so that's going to hurt him a little bit in the rankings. And he just gave up a chance for a slam there. So I think they penalized him pretty good on that. I thought it was pretty fair just to take him out of the tournament, and just sorry to see the top 3 not being there.
This was incredibly penal to Novak Djokovic, because not only did he lose those ranking points, he lost $250,000. He lost whatever the payment is to win it, over $1 million, but he lost the chance at really having the legacy of being the greatest male tennis player of all time. That doesn't mean he still won't get there, but he would have picked up his 17th major, and he's trying to get to Fed's 20, and Fed could still get more. I doubt that he will, but he could. And this was an occasion where there's nobody else in the draw. You've got this Canadian kid coming up, FAA, Felix Aguayo-Asimile, or whatever his name is, and he's going to be a real thorn in the side of some folks. The other Canadian, Shapovalov, who, by the way, also got ejected from a tournament for hitting inadvertently a lineman.
So we agree, properly punished, right?
Yeah, I'm going there. But you talked about mercurial. He's a strange guy in some respects. He's a guy that was trying to form a players' union, and he was excluding women, so he peeved them off. He's a guy that was complaining about his accommodations at the U.S. Open. Well, now he doesn't have to worry about that. He's a guy who, by the way, is an anti-vacciner, and he was complaining about if there's a vaccine, he didn't want to be made to take it, or to be able to travel, have to take the vaccine. He's a guy that takes polarizing viewpoints and seems to be pretty set in his ways. I think he'll be remembered for that. And unfortunately, he's going to be remembered for this too, because even though he didn't mean to do it, he did it. And
he did it.
We're going to remember he got tossed out of a tournament. He was almost a certain one to win, and it's now a big part of his legacy that he's blemished his legacy. And I've heard people, and I'd like you both takes on this, I've heard people complaining about how John McEnroe could even comment about this because his behavior was boorish, and it was. I honestly think some of the things that John McEnroe did toward intimidating things toward linesmen who basically are volunteers at tournament, getting in their face, calling them names, that sort of thing. I don't think you could get away with that in 2020. I think we've become so politically correct that John McEnroe.
Dave, it's not politically correct. It's polite society or not.
But
and he wasn't polite to a lot of people.
He got away with that.
He was impolite.
He got away with that then. I don't think he could get away with it now. And we're in a different world. And I think McEnroe's smart enough to know that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dave. I think it's just, and it's so funny how he did that. And that's, when you think McEnroe, that's what you think about. I can't be serious. Look how long ago that was, and he's still labeled with that. Yeah. I think the Joker's going to get labeled for the same thing. They're going to go, oh, yeah, I remember the Joker. He hit that girl in the throat. The big thing about the deal was, Joker did that. He knew it was wrong. He was sorry, but he did not do the press conference. He just left, jumped in the Tesla, and took off. I know he did a statement later on, apologizing and mentioned that he did check in and the girl didn't mention her name. Yeah, but I just don't think this stuff's going to be happening. You're right, in 2021, and so I just think it's amazing how tennis gets this kind of news, like the Serena thing. Remember back when she played Osaka, and then the one time when she had the ball, wanted to shove it up to the umpire, and McEnroe. Tennis seems to get on the radar with this kind of stuff.
The thing about Serena was that she wanted an apology from a judge, from the umpire, for nothing that the umpire did except enforce the rules. And I've always thought that was a bit of a blemish on Serena. Now, we'll forget about that as long as she keeps winning, and that'll slowly but surely go away. But there's that still out there. That video is still there of the way she treated that umpire at the U.S. Open. Novak, I don't blame him, honestly, for not doing that press conference. I think he needed to think about how he should approach it. He did not make a ruckus when he left. He basically was sort of pleading his case. When he realized there was no case,
I think he was contrite.
He went up and he kind of, you're not shaking the judge's, the umpire's hand anymore, so he kind of waved at him, got his stuff, walked out. What could he possibly say at that moment that would make things better? Nothing. The smartest thing he could do was go talk to his agent, get together with some publicist. Let's put out a good, contrite PR statement because I was wrong. I know that, and that's what they did. All he could do was get himself in trouble at a press conference, especially in New York City. I don't blame him for not going to that press conference.
Okay, that makes sense, Dave. I mean, just kind of like say regroup. He might have said something in the presser that could just, but he'd just say, okay, I need some minutes. You're right. Get to the right people, get to my team, and let's say the right stuff, and let's make the right apology. I think you're right. He might have made it a good move there. I was surprised that he didn't go, but that's just the way he is. He has that temperament. He gets mad. He's just going to walk.
Chuck, who wins the men's draw now?
Man, it's everybody was sort of looking at Medvedev. You know who I'm liking right now is Dominic Thiem, who just won in 3 sets today, pushes him in the quarterfinals. His game has been kind of a little shaky in the first rounds, but he's starting to get his form. That's the one I like. He'll play Medvedev in the semis if they both win it out. And then in the top draw, Alexander Zverev, the German. So, man, it's amazing. It's those new 3 coming up that we're looking at and not the old goats of the top 3 of all time. It's really interesting. So, and then
so your guy Thiem beat my guy Felix Auger-Aliassime. That's the guy.
That's right.
That Canadian kid, I think, is really going to be a star. Like. He's 20 years old. He hits the ball like crazy. He's fast as could be. He's going to be terrific. But Thiem knocked him out today, so I can understand why you like him now on the bottom.
Yeah, Dominic Thiem, the Dominator, they call him. He makes the one-hander cool again. If you see, he's got an amazing one-handed backhand. Very flashy player, good-looking, very well. He's just, he's ranked 3 now. He's ahead of Federer in the rankings. So, he's one to keep your eyes on. A dark horse would be Cora, Borna Cora. He's a young kid that beat Tsitsipas in a 5-setter. That's kind of a dark horse on the men's side. The women's side, I think it's Osaka's kind of got all eyes, except for I like Jennifer Brady, the UCLA graduate. Great playing, big serve, like her. So that's my dark horse on the women's side.
So you don't think Serena can break or tie Margaret Court?
I think it could happen. She's looking good, but she struggled going into this tournament. I mean, she played 5 matches, I think, before, the tournament before, lost 2 of them, playing a lot of 3-setters. If you notice, she's gone 3 sets in a lot of her rounds. I'm just not sure if she can go the distance. I'm kind of liking Osaka a little bit better than Serena here, but definitely keep your eyes on Jennifer Brady, the USA girl. I think we've got still 4 girls from the USA in the women's draw and only 1 in the men's.
Who's the men American still in?
Tiofa, Francis.
Boy,
Tiafo. I always have to say her name. Tiofo or Tifo. I always call him Tifo. Tiofo.
American men's tennis has been in a slump literally 15 years.
Only one to make it to the 4th round. Yeah, I mean, Taylor Fritz was the one we kind of had our eyes on, lost in the 3rd round. Isner went out in the 1st round against Stevie Johnson. It's kind of sad to see the American side, but it's nice to see the 4 women still in those positions in the women's draw. And don't forget about the doubles now. U of N player is in the semis right now. Joel Salisbury, come on, Australian Open winner from University of Memphis.
Right. We're pulling for him for sure. Is Taylor Fritz the last American that won the Memphis tournament?
No, he lost the year before that. Boy, I can't remember who won the last event. Maybe he was. I remember watching it. I know he won either the second to last or the last one.
Okay.
So,
all right, Chuck.
Remember Joe Salisbury and O'Hara played the Braun brothers here at that tournament.
That's right.
So he's been doing incredible in the doubles. Australian Open, only U of M player to ever win a Grand Slam. So keep your eye on him. He's in the semis. He won. He won today.
Who's his partner?
He is playing with Ram.
Okay.
Rajit Ram. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Good player.
We appreciate it. I'm sure we'll talk to you next week when this whole thing is over.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Chuck. We appreciate it.
All right, see you, Stat.
Thank you, Chuck.
Our man.
You got it, man. Thank you.
On the slams from LA.
Dave, I looked it up. I cheated. It was Ryan Harrison last winter in Memphis. I looked it up.
Ryan Harrison was. So it was Taylor Fritz was the winner the year before that? Must have been.
I don't know that.
Must have been. Anyway, those are great memories that we will never have again with the destruction of it.
Taylor Fritz lost in the finals to Kei Nishikori.
Oh.
Nishikori won 4 straight.
Yeah, he won 4 straight. So Taylor Fritz got to that final. That was the best he ever did. But that's good.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And that is the end of our talking about tennis, but it is not the end of us talking about great things like the Spirit Shop. That Spirit Shop, it's Monday, Labor Day. I think they were open today. They're always there to serve you. They're open 7 days a week. The Connor family never sleeps. They are there to make sure that you find the spirits that you would like, especially on this holiday. If you're out right now and you're listening and you're going, oh, no, we got people coming over here in about 10 or 15 minutes. To the rescue, the Connor family at the Spirit Shop, Poplar in St. Nick. It's perfectly located anywhere. Right there, Poplar 4848, straight down from the Clark Tower. That is that little log cabin you've passed a million times. You love that place if you go in. No social distancing there, really, especially from the product, because it's all crammed in. But they've got everything. They've got rare bourbons. They've got high-priced wines. They've got up-and-coming wines. They've got bargain vodka. They've got everything that has to do with spirits, accessories, beer, you name it. They got it at the Spirit Shop. You can get curbside. You can go in now. They will take care of you, I promise. So if you are starting to run out and you're poolside right now, the Spirit Shop is close to you. Back with a wrap of this second hour of Sports Time in just 1 minute.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1. Don't miss us.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you are treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
There's no better feeling than grilling out, and there's no better place than Ace to get the best grill for you and your family. We have the hottest grills from top brands like Big Green Egg, Traeger, and Weber. And since our stores are locally owned and we're committed to helping our neighbors, we'll also assemble and deliver your grill for free. Around the block, what you need in stock, with people who know their grills. Offer valid for Ace Rewards members through September 7th on grills and accessories $3.99 and up. See participating stores for scheduling or exclusions.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So the weather is just all over the place lately, right? One day it's hot, and the next day it's windy for a while. It's like, make up your mind already. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Every time I come around your city, bang, bang. Make it rain with about bitty, bang, bang. Every time I buy a new ride, bang, bang. Lorenzo's all you got on the side, bang.
Welcome back. It appears that the winner is going to be Dustin Johnson. He's got one hole to go. Xander Schauffele and Justin Thomas are just about done. Thomas is at 18 under. Schauffele playing that last hole, so he could end up beating him. Johnson's got a two-stroke lead. They're both playing 18. That's a eagleable hole. I can't see Johnson losing here, so we'll have our champion in just a little bit. We mentioned this earlier. Is there anybody else that you could think of? Colin Morikawa had a great year. We know that. John Rahm, obviously, had he won this, we'd be talking about him possibly being the player of the year. But I think it's
remember
Dustin right?
I do too, but the U.S. Open and the Masters will be included in 2020 play. Let's say, this is a stretch, but let's say Colin Morikawa won the Triple Crown. No Grand Slam this year, but he won the U.S. Open and the Masters.
He would win it.
He's player of the year.
Yeah.
If Justin Thomas won both of those remaining, he would probably supplant DJ as player of the year. Dustin Johnson win one of the two, don't even send out the ballots.
Do you think that anybody else, could Rory rectify if he came back and won those last two?
Dave, I think could, yes. Could in the abstract, could in the conceptual. If he won the U.S. Open in 2 weeks and won at Augusta National for the first time, and think of the wave of popularity, I think he would be a very popular winner of the Masters.
I'm really glad that you clarified that they're using the Masters in the U.S. Open, because for everything
Strange
else,
times, man.
Well, but wait. For everything else, this is the last event of the year.
It does. It ends for the PGA, because really the USGA and Augusta National are their own entities, their own animals. But for voters, though, they would factor that in for Player of the Year.
And it makes sense, because next year, when we have another season.
Starts next week.
Right. Next year starts next week, but we'll also have another.
No, next year starts this week.
Yeah. Next year starts next week. But wait a second. The U.S. Open and the Masters will all have tournaments next year as well as this year. So you couldn't have them twice. So that's why it makes sense that they would be part of this year, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a little bit like who's on first.
Yeah.
The golf year for 2020 does not end until the Masters, but it starts a 2021 season this week in California in Napa.
So you're right. We can't give the award yet. We can't give Scotty Scheffler Rookie of the Year yet either, because Hovland has 2 more chances to try to prove himself.
If Hovland won a major as a rookie, you're Rookie of the Year.
Well, Scheffler, has finished 5th
Ask
today.
Jerry Pate.
Right. I agree with that. And Hovland's good enough to do that. Scheffler might be that same way. I mean, what he's done the last few weeks since the return, he's been outstanding.
Yeah.
It is. Golf is, golf like basketball, and we're going to talk with Anthony Sane about the NBA bubble here in just a little bit in the playoffs. But both of those sports have really done well in returning without any issues. The basketball was the easiest because those guys are in a bubble. We've heard so much about that, the tediousness of it, the depression of it. And that's getting a little better as family members start to come now. But
it was the only way to pull it off.
It was.
And they did it.
And golf did it with travel. Sort of a bubble within your whole party, but they're going from city to city to city to city. And honestly, they've done an amazing job with that. So you hope that's the case for the rest of baseball, even though I do think they're going to bubble baseball when it comes playoff time. I hope they do. We'll see what it does with the NFL. So far, so good on the football teams that have competed the first week and this second week. Other than we know some of the COVID players that did not play, right? Memphis had 3, Arkansas State had 2. I don't know about these other teams, but I'm sure there were some last-second scratches either for the, say, asymptomatic players or those with contact tracing, like I think the 5 were a part of with Memphis and Arkansas State. But for the most part, nothing else. We haven't heard anything. So it's really, really, thus far, worked out well. This portion of the show is brought to you by the Butcher Shop. Butcher Shop, open inside or for takeout. They'll bring it out curbside for you. But they really want you to know how safe it is to eat inside. Many people don't realize how big those party rooms are, large enough for tables of 6 with 6 feet spacing between tables. You can have groups large enough if you still like to have a little bit of a party, 20 to 40, and still meet all of the health department guidelines. You want to go to the website to curbside order, you can do that too. That's thebutchershop.com. But go inside. It's safe as could be. Or go curbside. They want to make you happy. You can even do it tonight for the Labor Day weekend. Oh, yeah. Make it easy on yourself. Just call or head on over to see the folks at the Butcher Shop at the Agri Center, Walnut Grove, and Germantown Road. 2 hours in the books. The NBA front and center with Anthony Sane. He's next.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight. exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
I'm here with outstanding team from Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. Gary, tell everyone how they can experience the Lexus of Memphis satisfaction.
Come in and be a part of our family at Lexus of Memphis. Experience the customer service that we provide to each guest like a member of our own family. If you're on the side of the road and you need us, we're there. If you need help with anything with your car, technology, Bluetooth, the app suite, we have dedicated team to help you with this in your journey with your Lexus.
That's how they do it at Lexus of Memphis.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Reddick Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day. Group play and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sportstime on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sportstime is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour on this Monday. Happy Labor Day. We talked the NBA and the bubble that's gotten very, very interesting. We do that with Anthony Sane after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road down in DeSoto County. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the entire area. 662-890-7184. Check out their website at DeSotoAutoSales.com. and check out all those happy referrals and those beautiful cars down on Goodman Road. All the cars are test-driven, checked out from bumper to bumper, head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go find it for you. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back, down-home atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. But they know we're living in a world today that time really matters, and that's why they care about your time and want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. You walk in, find the car you want, test drive that car, get credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in less than an hour, 45 minutes to be exact, at DeSoto Auto Sales, in time to do it over your lunch hour tomorrow. 5704 Goodman Road, DeSotoAutosales.com, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for the town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
Every morning you listen to Peter and Anthony Sane. They talk a lot about the NBA. Anthony writes for Sports Illustrated on the NBA as well, and he joins us in this time slot every week. Thank you for giving us some of your holiday today, Anthony. We appreciate it.
Anthony.
Last night I watched a lot of the Lakers and the Rockets, and the question popped into my head, and I knew I had to ask you because you're big on superstars, and I think we would all agree Russell Westbrook's a superstar. Guy averaged triple-double for a couple of years. What the heck's wrong with him, Anthony Sane?
We talked about this today. Me and Peter talked about this as well. Westbrook is one of those guys where there isn't really a team that you can just drop him in and he fits in. He's one of those guys where you kind of have to cater things around him. Not really sure how healthy he is either, but that's just kind of who Russell Westbrook is. He gets in these playoff games and he feels like he has to be the hero, regardless of who's on the roster with him. We saw that, of course, with Kevin Durant. Saw it with Paul George. We saw it when it was his team with Victor Oladipo and Sabonis when it was pretty much his show. When he had the MVP season, he averaged a triple-double 2 years in a row. He's one of those guys where he doesn't really fit in well into a team's strategy, regardless of what it is. And he's one of those guys where you look at a team like Houston who likes to get off a lot of mid-range. No, they don't like to take a lot of mid-range jump shots. They like to take a lot of three-point shots and get to the basket. And Russell Westbrook is one of those guys who dominates scoring in the mid-range. So he's kind of a guy who's zigging where everyone else is zagging. So, yeah, that's one of the struggles.
Yeah, and I don't mind that, but Anthony, there's been a couple of things about this bubble. Now, let me preface it with Anthony. You know me pretty well, but let me preface it with this. I'm a constant worrier, and I know this is very Pollyanna, and a lot of people would go, come on, man, move on. My favorite night in Grizzlies history, it is still opening night at the Pyramid because it was finally here. Major leagues, not just professional, but the major leagues in Memphis. Okay, all that said, I know everybody else's 2011 and the postseason runs, and I understand that, and that's probably what it should be. But I'm still just so glad that we have them. Here's what concerns me out of the bubble. Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant, once upon a time, were in a small market on I-40 just like we are, called the Oklahoma City Thunder. They couldn't keep them. And now, Giannis, the Greek freak, he can't deliver the championship goods in Milwaukee. If Oklahoma City can get that lucky in the draft and Milwaukee can have a preeminent superstar transcendent player like Giannis, if they can't get it done, how are we ever going to do it in Memphis?
Here's the thing, and I'm glad you asked that question. That's something that I ponder all the time. And I think at the end of the day, Stats, your market does have it does matter a little bit where your market is, but you have to have a front smart office, and you have to make the right decisions. When you have those transcendent stars like a Giannis Antetokounmpo, like a Kevin Durant, you have to make smart moves to build around those guys the correct way. And Oklahoma City Thunder made crucial mistakes with that roster. You had a team that had James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, three guys who have all been league MVP all on the same team. And instead of building around those three guys, you made a crucial decision to keep Serge Ibaka on your team and pay him and trade James Harden. And I think that's a move that will always haunt that franchise. I think if you had let those three guys play together, you would have realized that if anything, Russell Westbrook was the guy that you should have traded, if anyone. But I think that they rushed their rebuild and they just did it too prematurely. That team was in the NBA Finals as constructed, and they put their focus into Serge Ibaka, who at the time was a versatile big man that can knock down mid-range to three-point shots, block shots, play good defense. but they should have based it around those perimeter players. And all that happened during the time when the NBA was transitioning to a perimeter league. I just think that was a crucial mistake by their franchise, and they continued to make bad trades and bad signings, and weren't able to really sign guys after that bad trade. Because you remember they traded James Harden for I think like Kevin Martin and some other stuff, and those guys never fit to what James Harden could do as a scorer with the Thunder. Same thing with the Bucks. They never really gotten another true star with Giannis, and they've just made some weird trades. They made that trade for Eric Bledsoe and things like that. So you just have to be smart with the guys you have. With John and Jaren, you have to make the right decisions to build around those guys. Anthony Davis as well. And New Orleans just built horribly around him. They just didn't make the simple moves it would take to get him. They went out and traded for DeMarcus Cousins and got another big man during the era where bigs were kind of phasing out. And you went and got another big man to play alongside Anthony Davis. You never got shooters. You never got scorers around them. And it just, I just think it's more so on those front offices than the actual markets themselves.
Although you got to give Sam Presti credit because they made the playoffs again this year, and heck took the Rockets to a Game 7.
Probably should have won that series. But to your point,
and maybe so. I guess the more pertinent question for you in that regard, not saying you're wrong, but do you think here we are all these years later, not any of those three players are with that same team? I don't think there's any way, even if they hadn't traded Harden, that all three would be with that team right now.
Right. Yeah, I don't think that all three would have been there regardless, strictly because of contract reasons. But I think they probably should have. If anything, they should have built that team around Harden and KD instead of Westbrook and KD. I just think that's the move that they should have went around. I think getting rid of Harden basically was the wrong move, period, even if you couldn't have kept all three of those guys for the long haul.
What team off Broadway, and it's not Toronto, they represent a country. I know the whole country doesn't have Raptors fever, but Toronto's a large metropolitan city. What place off Broadway do you think can really be next to be pushing to win an NBA title? Because Milwaukee's not it. They're not going to.
I know I'm going to sound like the ultimate homer. I don't mind sounding that way at all. I think Memphis has the tools, man. I think
good. That's fine.
I think you look at a team that was supposed to be one of the worst in the West, period. And for them to be as good as they were, if the Grizzlies had made the playoffs, I say this all the time, they historically would have been the second youngest team in NBA history as far as guys that actually play in their rotation to ever make the playoffs. To mention those old Oklahoma City Thunder teams, that first team with KD and Russell Westbrook was the youngest team ever to make the playoffs. That Grizzlies team is well ahead of schedule. I don't really think a lot of fans, a lot of locals really understand how far ahead of schedule that team was to be that good. And you're one of a true rebuild when you got rid of Mike Conley and Marc Gasol and flushed the whole grit and grind thing away and built around young guys. For them to be that far ahead, I think it's scary. And they have a lot of assets in tow. They have a lot of first-round picks. They're going to have a ton of cap space next year. And they're in a position next year where even if they're not a good team, even if they don't make the playoffs, if they can get a good pick in that lottery, the Grizzlies could really be setting themselves up to be, one of those better teams in the NBA and not just in the West. Pretty soon, it depends on how things go over the next few years. You got that Utah pick. Utah seems to be a team that you could very well see Utah falling off. You got that Warriors pick that could have value that you could use for yourself to draft or to trade for a player that's already an existing player. I just think the type of moves the Grizzlies are making as an organization, the young core they already have in Jaren Jackson Jr., John Morant, and Brandon Clark, plus their cap space they're going to pick up next summer. I think that if they play their cards right, they could be in a position to really be one of those elite teams in the NBA.
And also all those picks that you were mentioning. I mean, I'm trying to remember how many picks they have over the next 4 years that are first-round picks that could go a long way either for trading or for securing great talent. So I see that. You've got to kind of win. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, you got to be good.
We're all thinking, Giannis will probably go if they don't win a title. He's going to go somewhere where he thinks he can, and he's going to go for a little bit less money because he can make it up other ways with endorsements or other stuff in a major market. I get that. So these guys got to win. Don't you think that's important?
They got to be more than just looking good on paper. They got to do more than just make highlights. They've got to be good. That's why I think that even if the Grizzlies have a worse season next year, they still have to be in the hunt. If they're not a playoff team, they can't fall all the way down to the bottom of the West. They've got to be somewhere around that 9, 10, 11, 12 range to still make noise and still, because you don't want, because people are saying, well, they just need to tank next year to try to get a good guy. I think you need to keep John and Jaren having a winning mentality and being in a positive atmosphere here in Memphis during these delicate years of their development.
So agree.
So you just can't go out there and just be crap with those guys. You want those, because those guys want to win, especially John.
And they got to be happy.
And I don't want
with
them
each
getting
other,
used
too.
to winning 20 games either. I want
not at all.
There's
Not
one
at
way
all.
to become a winner, and that's winning.
Yeah, the only way you can be exactly. The only way you can become a winner is winning. Well, not just that though, because even this year, if we look at it, we would say the Grizzlies had an exceptional season, but we had a losing record. We didn't have a winning record at all. We were nowhere close to. So, I think it's still like you can still put out a great product and look like a good team and have a losing record like they ended up having, but and still have tons of optimism, not just for yourself, but for other players who may be free agents or whatever you're doing.
I think the other thing is, besides feeling good about the chances of winning, you got to like each other and the roles that you play. It seems at this point that Jaren is okay being the Robin to the Batman of Ja. That has to continue, don't you think?
Yeah, it does. And props to Jaren. Something else that people have to understand. Jaren Jackson Jr. in his second year in the NBA has played for 2 coaches, had 2 general managers, and he's had two different styles of play. When he was a rookie here in Memphis, he was a guy who he shot a few 3-pointers, but he mostly was used as a pick and roll big, or just as a big that you post up or you get into space. This year, Jaren, they basically use him as a perimeter player, and that's a totally different coaching change. And you could tell that Jaren was struggling adjusting to his new role and his new responsibilities when Coach Taylor Jenkins first got here. But as the season went on, especially in the bubble, it just seems like Jaren was just in a groove where he really was comfortable with his role with the team in a way that he didn't really look in the beginning of the season, where he was Jaren's one of those guys where a lot of guys, their defense initiates their offense. Like if they're playing good defense, they get it going on offense. Jaren's kind of the other way around. He's making shots. If he's flowing in offense, if you notice, he plays better defense and he fouls less when he's cooking on offense. So as you notice, as he got going in the bubble, his defensive awareness and his lack of fouls and all those things started kicking.
And Anthony, that's a great point about the styles, and he's had a lot thrown at him. And all together now on 3, 1, 2, 3, they're 20.
Yeah, 20 years old. Yeah. Because him and Jaren are still amongst the youngest players in the league. You know what I mean? And you watch these guys on during the All-Star weekend, and just we kind of forget that how young they are compared even to the other young players in the league.
I have enjoyed these series, and so far, I mean, we got 2 games tonight where one series is 2-2, the other is 1-1. The Lakers and the Rockets is going to be fun to watch. Milwaukee and Miami, well, that seems to be the one-sided one, but heck, there were heroics last night by Middleton.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad he showed up. But we have a texter on the First Bank text line that says, talk about the plummeting NBA ratings and why. And I'm really not exactly sure why. I think the ratings, and you could go back to people who are tired of the politics that is involved. But I think the ratings started to go down much before we've had any of this unrest, this social unrest, which some people think is a part of it. Give me your sense of why you think the NBA TV ratings are not as good as they had been, say, 2 years ago.
Well, I'll say this. I don't like to call anything that's an issue of dealing with basic humanity. I don't like to call that politics at all. And that's something that people kind of throw on like a blanket statement that people put on things that I don't think are appropriate. Because it's strange that we don't have problems with people in politics speaking on sports, but we have a problem with people in sports speaking about humanity and saying that black people should have equality in this country. That's the issue of humanity and not a political issue at all. So I'll just say that to preface anything else I say.
Is that why you think the numbers are down?
Here's the thing on that. The NBA came into this whole thing not really caring if that's an issue or not. They want to let it be known that they care about the desires of their players and their players having a voice. And they knew that would come with some backlash because that's the world we live in. But another factor is this: the times that these games come on, they're coming on at weird times. They're not coming on at times.
Exactly.
A playoff.
We just weren't used to afternoon on a Thursday NBA games.
I think that's a big part of it too.
And you got games
Anthony, the time of the year we're not conditioned to really have our NBA hat on Labor Day weekend.
Right, and you're watching games. Every other day with no days off. There's no travel. Guys are coming right back at it. They're coming on at weird times, and a lot of this stuff is just overblown as well. Because that Game 7, I want to say, one of these Game 7s that just happened was the highest rated TV show.
Blew out a big number.
Yeah, since the whole pandemic started. So a lot of these numbers, you have to look at them, in a case-by-case basis. You can't compare primetime games or games happening in L.A. doing, whatever primetime in L.A. is to a 4:30 start Central Time. You know what I mean? You can't compare those things. But like I said, I don't think the NBA cares. I think that they knew that there would be some backlash to it, and because of the social issues that they wanted to address. But I don't really think they care, and they're still putting on a great product. And still, tons of people are watching. It's not like you're cutting it on and their numbers are just dead, like nobody's watching it. It's still being watched by some people, and I'm proud of the NBA and the players for what they're doing.
Thank you, Anthony. We appreciate it. Happy Labor Day to you.
Thanks, guys. No problem.
We thank you for being a part of us on this holiday. I know you had to work this morning too, so.
Oh yes, sir.
that was not fun.
Full day.
We appreciate it.
All right, guys.
All right, and is Anthony saying you listen to him with Peter in the morning, 7 to 10. You can read him in Sports Illustrated as well. So,
all right, after the first set of games, Dave, you led with 8 picks. You went 8-0. Great picking, Dave. Way to go.
Right.
You have Clippers, Lakers over there on that left side in the West. You have Toronto and Milwaukee in the East.
Now,
I'm in second place.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure,
So,
you may.
Because this has troubled me a little bit. So when
I don't want you troubled. That hurts my feelings to think that you're troubled.
When I gave my picks, I gave it all the way through. But you, Drew, only did the first round. And then it seems like you guys redid yours for the second round. I never had a chance to.
Yeah, you did. No, we picked. I texted you, and I said, give me your picks for this round. You
Is that
sent
right?
me Clippers, Lakers,
wow, that's
Toronto,
terrible.
Milwaukee. I promise.
How did I forget that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Toronto,
Toronto,
I'm not trying.
I
want to win, but I'm not going to cheat you.
I'm dead in the water.
You're not dead with Toronto. I think it's not good for Milwaukee. All right.
Yeah.
I'm in second with 7 points. I have Clippers, Lakers, Toronto, Miami.
So we're going to be tied.
Our friend Carl Morris on the other side of the glass right there.
Yeah.
Carl's in second place, tied with me at 7, and he has Clippers, Lakers.
I know he's got the Lakers for sure.
And he's got against his – he just had to do it. He hated doing it. He has Boston and Miami. So we can Drew's dorming. Drew's way gone.
Well, he could take over. Carl Morris could win this.
I'm going to throw this out. Carl, I think you will agree with me. I don't care what the NBA would have to do. At this point, what's 2 more weeks? If they had to quarantine, if they had to establish new bubbles, if it's Lakers, Celtics in the NBA Finals, I don't care if they have to pay the medical cost to examine everybody coming through the door at Staples and TD Arena. We've got to play Lakers, Celtics in Boston and Los Angeles in the finals. That can't be in the bubble. Carl, we got to come up with a way to do it. That cannot be confined to a bubble. If it's Lakers, Celtics, what's another billion?
Lunch money.
Dave?
That would be fine with me, but I think the NBA is pretty well committed to
make it happen somehow. Make it happen somehow.
At least set a certain amount of fans they can come in at least.
I think they're committed to the Orlando bubble. That's the safest way. You would not have to worry about any kind of COVID interrupting the play. That's not going to happen. As much as we'd like to see it, it's not going to happen. Short of a vaccine.
We got to get the vaccine out quick then.
We better get it real quick. better get it next week. That's
I know the first 40,000 people that'll get it. They'll be in Boston and Los Angeles.
What if it's the Clippers though in the Celtics? Not the same.
Clippers. It's Clippers, man. Come on. Clippers are going to win that.
Clipper game.
Yeah, they might win, but then they got to run to my Lakers, and then
no. They're going to win their series here, and then they're going to knock off the Lakers.
I've been right. I've been right since the playoffs started.
I'm going to tell you, if you're going for a superstar, and Anthony Sain's this big superstar guy, right? We just talked to. Who's the better superstar right now? I know he had a bad game last game, but who's the better superstar? Who's the one that you would take right now between LeBron and Kawhi?
I take Kawhi.
I'd take Kawhi.
Me being a fan, I'm sorry, Carl.
But
if we're speaking,
I know you
being in reality,
yes,
it has to be Kawhi.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's
if
why
the Clippers,
I'm more so of Anthony Davis over LeBron right now.
Yeah, well, he's played well, but Anthony is helped out by having LeBron's presence. I think LeBron has actually played very well in these NBA bubble playoffs.
I do too, and it feels like this is last dance for him to win a title. If the Clippers get to the final, to the conference finals, to the Western Conference Finals, and I think they will, then that will leave only 2 of the current 30 NBA teams to never appear at least once in a conference finals. That would leave Charlotte, and that would leave the Pelicans. So the Grizzlies' big notation in history made it to the Western Conference Finals. That's not that special. Everybody's done it except for Charlotte and the Pelicans if the Clippers get there now.
It's better than Charlotte, New Orleans. That's all you can say. That's all you can say.
It's not that big a deal. And got swept and hadn't made any noise since.
How many teams, since you bring that up, have gotten to the next step? How many teams have played in the finals? How many have not? That would be a better one.
Currently 8. Charlotte, Atlanta, Denver, Minnesota, Clippers, Memphis, New Orleans, Sacramento. Of the team constituted now, like Sacramento being the Kings, not being the old Cincinnati Royals, being the Sacramento Kings.
Well, first of all those teams were expansion teams at some point. There's none of the original teams. That's one.
That's right.
And two, if you go over that list again, is there any major market?
Atlanta, Clippers.
Oh, the Clippers are. The Clippers never made a final.
Mm-hmm.
No.
They never made a conference final.
But it's also a team that arrived in L.A., somewhat.
Out there was already, Laker Nation.
Yeah, bag in hand. Looking for a place to land.
They came from San Diego, and I don't know where the heck they were before San Diego.
Buffalo.
He moved out of
Buffalo,
LA.
right. So it's not like they were established in that marketplace.
Oh, they're not moving out of L.A. Ballmer's building that show place.
They are moving out of our stadium, though.
They're moving out of the Staples Center? Yeah. Do you own that stadium?
Yes, we do.
I see. I see.
Call your name on the deed. Way to go, Carl.
I love it. I love it. This portion of the show is brought to you by Supercuts. And Supercuts is locally owned, locally operated, all by the same family, the Czech family. They brought them here 30 years ago. Now they got 15 of them. And nothing is more important to the Czech family, to the whole Supercut Corporation, than the health and safety of their team in Memphis and the Memphis community. That's why, as they opened up all these Supercut salons, they did it with what they called the Safe Salon Commitment in place. That Safe Salon Commitment was developed in partnership with top infectious disease doctors to maximize safety and sanitization in every one of the Supercut salons, which means when you're ready for a haircut, and I think just about everybody is now, they're ready for you, and they've been seeing people. It's great. Learn more about that Safe Salon Commitment and how you can get ready for your next visit at supercuts.com. We take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have a little fun. We will give you what we think will happen tonight with BYU and Navy. We will also make all of our picks on Navy. Then we will give you the best 4 players in the history of BYU football and Navy football. All of that to come next on Sports Time.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Let's go with Go-Go Squeeze. We're going, growing, standing tall, climbing, laughing, hide and seeking, giving our all.
Our kids' days are filled with adventure, and Go-Go Squeeze is there for every run, jump, step of the way. Made from wholesome ingredients like 100% fruit and veggies, real yogurt, and no artificial anything in Go Anywhere pouches, so our kids can keep going wherever their adventures take them. Go-Go Squeeze. You make the memories, we'll make the snacks. Find us in the applesauce aisle.
Let's go!
Napa know-how.
Get all the quality parts you need at your locally owned Napa. Because right now, when you order from Napa online, you can pick up curbside at your local store in just 30 minutes. Or get your order delivered direct to your door with free one-day shipping on over 160,000 quality parts when you spend $35 or more. Quality parts delivered quickly and safely. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, standard ground shipping and exclusions apply.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in as we cruise through our Labor Day Monday. And we got Monday Night Football. It's not NFL. We'll have that soon. But we've got BYU and Navy from the American Athletic Conference. BYU is a 1-point favorite in this game tonight.
1.5 for our picks because we have no pushes. I take Navy. Drew takes Navy. Bruce Marshall from the goal sheet, he took Navy on Friday. Bruce was 3-1 in picks with us on Friday. He had Army winner, had Arkansas State, and the winner. He had SMU. SMU laid a big number, wasn't close to getting there.
No.
Had defensive trouble all day again for SMU.
Wow.
Bruce has Navy tonight. Who does Dave have?
Well, I have Navy all the way. When you, by the way, have a former Tiger quarterback, you know you're going to have fits. You're going to have troubles.
I mean, he made some throws in that game. Did you catch any of it?
He threw 2 picks in that game.
He did. Got a little colorblind.
Yeah.
He threw to the wrong team a time or two. But he made some really good throws, and they talked about him being a Memphis transfer. And one of the announcers said, look at the quarterback play at Memphis. He had to get out. All right, on the wins and losses for Navy, Drew had 8-3, with his losses being when the Naval Academy goes to Tulane, and when they host Houston, and when they play at home against Memphis in November. He was 8-3. Here's mine. I'm not that good on Navy. I got them winning tonight. I have them in the pick. I have them winning at Tulane. I have them starting 3-0 with a win at Temple, against Temple at home. Then losing at the Air Force Academy, winning at East Carolina, winning against Houston, losing against SMU, winning against Tulsa, and then 3 straight losses.
Wow.
Home against Memphis, at South Florida, and in the game, the Army-Navy game on December 12th, they lose. They go 6-5.
Wow. I think a lot more of Navy than you do. I have them beating BYU. I'm just like you in the beginning. I think they're going to win 3 in a row, beating BYU, Tulane, and Temple. They'll lose at Air Force. I think they will beat East Carolina there, beat Houston at home, lose at SMU, beat Tulsa, lose to Memphis. They're not going to lose at South Florida. That team is terrible. And then the Army-Navy game, I think it'll be a heck of a game, and I'm going to go with Navy. So I've got them 8-3 with the losses to Memphis, at SMU, and to the Air Force in Colorado Springs.
Interesting. And on Mondays, for Monday Night Football starting next week, last year we had our Big Four, Mount Rushmore, top 4. This year we're just going to have the 4 best quarterbacks. And that would fit today for picking BYU. Not trying to be a wise guy. I would have gotten, I promise you, I would have been very stumped by it. Dave, name me an all-time great BYU running back.
BYU running back?
Yeah. And we only have 27 minutes left of the show.
No.
There's not one.
I'll give
There's
you
not
one.
one.
Yeah, there is. Yes, there is. He was
BYU?
He was a fullback and a tight end.
Well, now he was more tight end at the end of his BYU career. It was Todd Christensen.
That is correct. That's who I put in. He's a running back. He came in as a fullback.
He did. He played some running back. But was he great? They moved him to a different position. How great are you?
Well, they kind of changed their offense a little bit. That's part of the reason they moved him there.
All right. With that, and it's not Todd Christensen because his receiving numbers were very paltry in college. In the pros, he was great.
He was great.
Name me a great BYU wide receiver.
I don't know any of that.
There's not. It is quarterback you, though.
Well, I ended up actually with only 2 quarterbacks. So I have Todd. You want me to start? I'll go 4. Todd Christensen, fullback, tight end, 2 Super Bowls, 5 Pro Bowls to go along.
Super Bowls don't matter. We're doing why he was at BYU.
Okay.
It's not what he did in the pros.
Okay. I'm going to go with Jim McMahon at 3. I'm going to go with Bart Oates, the center, who was a really good player there and then went on to play in the USFL and win there. He went on to play in the NFL and win there.
We're picking while they were at BYU and at Navy.
I liked them at BYU too. Bart Oates, center, and then Steve Young is the best player that I think BYU's ever had.
You left out a Heisman, their only Heisman Trophy winner.
Who was it?
Ty Detmer.
Ty Detmer. Well, that is true.
My Big Four are all quarterbacks, and I did it while they were actually playing at BYU, as the assigned topic was. Steve Young, Ty Detmer, Jim McMahon, and Robbie Bosco.
Robbie Bosco. Wow.
He was great in college.
Okay. Those are your 4. All quarterbacks.
For Navy.
Yep.
All quarterbacks. It's all it's ever been at BYU. Virgil Carter was a really good BYU quarterback.
I remember him. I believe he's
Steve
there for a little
Sarkisian.
while.
Steve Sarkisian was a good college quarterback there.
What does Ken Niumatalolo's son play? Is he a quarterback for them?
I'm not sure.
Because remember, Niumatalolo almost went there. Actually, I think took the job and then declined the job.
Had a real pull to there. Yeah. Taysom Hill was great at BYU. Now the slash guy with New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a better Saint than he was at BYU.
Did he play quarterback at BYU or did he play tight end at BYU?
He played quarterback.
He did play quarterback,
but was slash guy there. A lot of runs, and BYU's always had zany offenses. Do you remember that early '80s BYU SMU Holiday Bowl? Like 46-45. SMU had Dickerson and James.
Yeah.
And had that good quarterback, too, Mike Ford, and had Emmanuel Tolbert from Little Rock Central was on that team. And that game kind of put the Holiday Bowl on the map. All right, who's your Navy Big Four?
My Navy Big Four, you got to start with Bob Hornschmeyer, the running back I think he was in the 40s. Did battles with Army. Then I got Malcolm Perry, who I think is going to make it in the NFL, by the way. And Malcolm Perry was that I saw in person, the best of any military quarterback that I ever saw.
Better than Keenan Reynolds.
I think so. And I saw Reynolds. I thought Malcolm Perry.
Statistically, he's not.
No, but Malcolm Perry in person, and I saw him both in person. He's the best. I mean, he ran like Gale Sayers. He
was on better teams.
I saw Malcolm Perry beat at least 8 guys on one run against the University of Memphis at Marine Field. I couldn't believe it. You remember the play I'm talking about where he was flushed from the pocket, and I'm going to tell you at least 8 guys have a shot on him, and he just breaks every tackle and gets about 60 yards. It was one of the great runs of all
I'm
time.
sorry, Drew's BYU was Young, Detmer, McMahon, Bosco as well.
Okay.
And your other 2 for Navy?
A guy named Ed Sprinkle, a defensive end, who was called the meanest man in football.
You're leaving out a Heisman Trophy winner unless you're leaving out 2.
I'm not leaving out Roger Staubach. He's the best of all time.
You left out Joe Bellino, a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, I saw him. I
guarantee he's more regarded than Hornswoggle is.
Maybe so. Hornschmeyer.
And your 4th, Roger Staubach?
Yeah, Roger Staubach.
That was the easy one. Roger Staubach, Joe Bellino, Napoleon McCallum, and Keenan Reynolds for Drew.
I thought about Napoleon McCallum for sure.
I saw him play one night at War Memorial for Navy against Arkansas, and he was big time back. I omitted McCallum and Reynolds, or just McCallum. I have the 2 Heisman Trophy winners, Roger Staubach and Joe Bellino, and Joe Bellino just passed last year. And Roger Staubach now, I'm going to say he probably is 3rd or 4th oldest living former Heisman Trophy winner. He is really gotten to senior status, yeah. And
well, how old is Roger Staubach now? I guess that makes some sense.
70.
Is he that old? Did he make 70 already?
Well, he was a senior at Navy in 64, so if you're 22 and you're a senior and 56 years later, at 56 and 22, 78.
Wow.
He's up there.
Paul
Horning is older than that. He's one of the oldest remaining Heisman Trophy winners. But
Staubach.
But the oldest is Johnny Blue Jack.
And how old is he?
He's really old and really frail. But I have Staubach and Bellino. Then I have Keenan Reynolds and Malcolm Perry.
You got Malcolm Perry in there too. Yeah. Staubach is 78 years old. Paul Horning, of all the guys that were Heisman Trophy winners, I would have to say that Paul Horning would be the least likely one to live as long as he has. He's 84 years old because he was a partier.
Yeah, he really defied the old maxim. No, you don't bury old fools, because he was a wild guy, and he did not look good last year at the ceremony on TV. He is very, very, very frail. But name a great Navy wide receiver. Nobody can.
No.
Nobody can. They've never thrown the ball.
They still don't throw. Even with Niumatalolo, they don't throw.
I mean, they're allergic to throwing the ball. Did you see the 19 play?
You remember the play that helped set up Malcolm Perry's winning touchdown was a pass.
Oh, yeah.
It was a gadget pass, wasn't it? A halfback pass where he lateraled the ball and the guy threw the ball down the field?
The wishbone's one of the great passing offenses for kind of trickeration to catch the other team not suspecting it after you've lulled them the whole game. Did you see Army's 19-play, 99-yard drive Saturday?
I did not.
It was glorious. They got the ball on the one. I was watching the game with my mother, and I said, nobody better built for a 99-yard drive than this. They ran out the last 3 minutes of the third quarter and the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter and went 99 yards in 19 plays. The ball never came close to being airborne.
19 plays. That is incredible. And you know what?
Middle Tennessee couldn't do anything.
That record will never be broken. 99 yards.
No, 99 doesn't get broken. No.
Nope. Man, I I just know this. It was total domination, and the early part of that game that I saw, I could tell Middle was never going to be in the game because Army was so much faster than Middle Tennessee.
And Dave, this year around college football, you get off to that rough start in a game for the season. I think this year the checkout factor could be huge.
Yeah,
around college football.
Sure. No,
I just
I
really
agree
don't
with
have
that.
the time for this.
Yeah, and
now you check out too much. Come roster time, you get this year back, but they're going to go sign other players, and come roster purge time, they're going to remember who checked out.
I do think it is interesting, and I don't know if there will be the ability to purge. You might not get playing time, but you're not going to get cut because you're guaranteed that scholarship for next year just by being on the team this year. And it was funny.
Yeah, but nobody wants to be fifth string.
We did start to approach, what about red shirt? Are you going to, 4-game philosophy? What's your strategy? Oh, wait, that's right. There's no red shirt this year. Everybody's got a red shirt year. And I still wonder, the toughest part of all of that is truly roster management. And I'll give you a great example. Memphis has a young transfer quarterback that they got from Baton Rouge that they think could be really a great quarterback. He came here. He got in a little trouble at LSU, and he came here because he was going to wait his turn and take this year off, red shirt, watch Brady White, learn the offense. Then he was, kind of going to battle to be the heir apparent. If Brady White comes back, I have no idea if he's going to, but if Brady White comes back, what does that do to him? Does he go, you know what? I
want to go play.
I want to play. I'm going to go somewhere else and play. And I'm getting this year back wherever I go. It doesn't matter. So
hardest year in coaching lives history to keep everybody happy, everybody safe. Got to win.
Well, I think ADs too, because with ADs
too.
ADs got to find the money to pay for
Gotta survive.
all these additional scholarships over the next 4 years, not just football, which is the most important for them because that's the bread and butter. But what if you're soccer? What if you're cross country? What if you're volleyball? Those people are fall sports
Basketball.
too. Basketball's not. That's a spring sport. All those other sports are fall sports. Every fall sport just got a free year that you are committed to having to give that scholarship to them for another year.
It's the high wire act of all time. It's why I applaud so many at Memphis on Saturday pulling off opening day. Now they got some time to digest what we did right, what we got to work on, and get ready for Houston on the 19th.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Homer. Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, also where they have those Genesis cars that I love. I got a G70. I'm telling you, it is the best performing car I've ever had. The technology in there for performance, for timers on laps, for getting into sport mode if you want, or you can go econ mode. Everything you want, I'm telling you, it is there. That's why with every new vehicle, not just the G cars, the Hyundais as well, you get a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. And I had it this a couple of years ago. Now, with every new Hyundai, with every new Genesis, you get a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package. And not only is this high-performance technology, it's safe technology. Hyundai, for instance, tied for the most number of top safety pick vehicles in all of 2020. And the 2021s are all arriving. Soon there will be a Genesis SUV on the lot in Olive Branch. All you got to do is get on Lamar. It becomes Highway 78 at State Line Road, and then you're there because the very first exit is Craft Road. Turn left, you'll have found car buying nirvana. It's the standard for the way car business should be done. Go see why. Go see my friends at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We are back in just a minute. We got crunch time coming your way. Don't go anywhere.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-466-9625. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-466-9625.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hey, we understand. With everything that's happening, with all the new regulations, maybe you're not ready to come and hang out at Sweetgrass to catch a ball game. We want you to, we really do. And we're open for you to do just that. But we're also offering the next best thing, the new Sweetgrass Tailgate Party Packs. Whether it's wings, house-made dips, sliders, or other Sweetgrass tasty treats, all you have to do is call us or go to sweetgrassmemphis.com to order just what you're dreaming of when you're dreaming of watching sports and enjoying some sweet, sweet Sweetgrass.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. The East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, then we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get in fame.
Hope you're having a great Monday, Labor Day. Hope you're out at a pool listening to us or at a picnic and just enjoying life through the pandemic. Social distancing, maybe with masks, but the holidays do go on. We hope it's been great for you. Crunch time in a second. Part of it is brought to you by the good folks at Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and always finding ways to make it pay for you. Did you pay a big repair bill? Maybe on your existing heating and air conditioning system, and now you think this system isn't worth a darn thing. Good news, buyback days at Conway, where they'll buy your repair bill back this year up to $1,500 toward the purchase of 2020 technology, and I'm talking the best. I'm talking a Select Carrier Infinity system. That's right. Conway will buy your repair back up to $1,500, even if they didn't do the repair. Just show them your receipt from the company, and they buy your repair back. If you didn't have a repair bill this year, don't worry. You still got a $1,500 trade-in for the old Energy Guzzler to get the brand-new technology, the Select Carrier Infinity system. When air conditioners get older and inefficient, the cost of repairs at high utility costs, well, they are so big, the savings you get almost pays for a brand new system. All you got to do is make the call, 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. It is crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
Boop!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
On one, on two, on three. Hey.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Learned today, and we talked about it. You want to party like it's 1999, the great Prince song? Let the Army do it. 19 plays, 99-yard drive that ran out the end of the third quarter and a lot of the fourth quarter against Middle. And Middle Tennessee State looked like they didn't even practice against the Wishbone. What'd you learn, Dave?
I learned today that Dustin Johnson is one heck of a golfer. He just tapped in for a birdie on the last hole. He got a 68 and a 3-shot victory over Justin Thomas and Xander Schauffele. So he got $15 million today. I just figured he's won 3 tournaments, about $18 million this year, which means he's made over $80 million in winning.
In a short year.
In 13 years, he's made $80 million just from winning. No endorsements, nothing else. And I also started to realize, you know how secure and almost leering Drew was over his position as the leader in the clubhouse in our Pick'em contest? I got $4.5 million from Justin Thomas today. I believe he had Colin Morikawa, who I think was up there. But
you got how much out of Justin Thomas today?
$4.5 million.
He didn't win that much for coming in.
Schauffele and Thomas both got $4.5 million with their FedEx Cup money. That's what they got.
No, we're just counting this week's purse. We're not counting bonuses. You know that.
I didn't know that. Come on,
you know better than that. Well, then John Gowen got $15 million. You want to do that?
He had. That's right. He had Justin. He had
Yeah,
DJ,
I bet you don't want to do that so much, do you?
No, not really.
Yeah, could have done without you trying to cheat. Could have done without Joker stunt at the U.S. Open. Now a first-time major winner for the first time since 2014 when Marin Cilic won. That's good that we're going to break this logjam with just repeat men's winner. But it was poor form from the Joker. He's been punished. I think he's been punished mightily. I think he should be. I think he is and should be embarrassed. Shouldn't that be the end of it?
I don't know. I'm not sure he has solidarity from everybody in the ranks, so that may be the reason why he wouldn't be a part of it. But I don't think this moment should define him. It will certainly be a part of it, but it should not define him. I could have done without the story of sadness here. Mike Sexton, one of the most recognizable and influential personalities in the modern poker world, died yesterday with prostate cancer at the age of 72. Sexton was an inductee to the Poker Hall of Fame in 2009. He served as one half of a commentary team for the World Poker Tour alongside Vince Van Patten from the tour's first TV broadcast in March 2003 all the way through 2017 when he retired. Sad for the poker world and for TV folks that loved watching his stuff. He is passed.
Keeping a close eye on Navy and BYU tonight. Go Navy. Never been a fan of dirty BYU. Boy, they give the business at the bottom of the pile like no other team out there. Got kind of about the biggest jive bunch really out in college football. Also,
I agree.
NFL starters being named. Mitch Mitchell named starter in Chicago. How about that? That won't last long.
You know who told
and a
him?
whole bunch of baseball tonight.
You know who told Mitch Trubisky? Nick Foles asked to be the guy that would tell Mitch Trubisky. How about that? So they've got a bond.
He's going to be the guy to tell him, I'm taking your job, too.
And he's going to, Mitch is going to then go to him in a couple of games that I didn't get it done. So, Nick, it's yours. I don't know. You know, they say Mitch just dropped some weight and I don't know. I got to see it to
Don't
believe
do it to yourself, Dave.
I got to see it to believe it. Cubs and Cars, what's going on there? I haven't seen.
Cubs blasting the Cardinals.
Oh, thank goodness. We're going to get at least a second game in this series. I was a little bit worried about that. 5-1 there in the ninth. We thank everybody who was involved today. David Cobb, Chuck Melkant, Anthony Sane. We'll do this again tomorrow. Big show coming your way with Bo Marchant and Brent Beard and Gabe Kuhn talking about the Tigers' win. So we'll join you then. Enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend.
It's the Summer of Performance event at Acura of Memphis. Acura's entire lineup sets the luxury and performance standard, like the award